Hi, welcome back guys. This is your friend, Lettuce Head Fanfics. Back with amazing fanfiction. This is the series of What If Deku Awakens the Force. Now before starting, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. Izuku Yagi is now being beaten by Izumi and her friends, Katsumi, Shoka, Shoto, Katsuki and Uraraka. Uraraka, you'll never be a hero. Shoto, you're just a useless kid. Shoka, I can't marry a quirkless wannabe. Katsumi and Katsuki, you're just a Deku. Izumi, I cannot believe I have a brother like you. Izumi and her crew left Izuku in the ground unconscious. Izuku woke up and he's still at school. He noticed that it's evening. Izuku was panicking that his parents might get worried. So he leaves school and head home. At home, Izuku arrived at the house and he noticed that they are eating. Izuku was worried that they totally forgot him. Without startling his parents, Izuku then broke to his own room and none of his parents notice it. Izuku then decided to sleep and think, everything will be okay tomorrow. Next day, 10 years later, time skip. Izuku woke up and he is 14 years old. He head downstairs and his parents weren't there, thinking that everything was normal. Well, things got worse. At school, Izuku gets beat up by his bullies. Not only that, Izumi creates a game called Catch the Deku, where the game starts with Izuku will have to run away and his bullies will chase him and beat him up. Izuku have been in that life until he was 14. Izuku Yagi is now walking to school where he heard all students whispering something about Izuku going to be beaten. Izuku just ignored it and head inside the school. Class. Izuku's teacher is holding a paper where they will put their dreams on it. Teach. Now I want you all to fill this paper and write all of your dreams. Nah, who am I thinking? You all want to be heroes. After the teacher said that, all of the students started to cheer while using their quirk until Bakugo slammed his hand in his table and said, Bakugo, hey teach, don't lump me and my crew with this D-lister. We all know who will ace and become hero, right? With that saying, all of the students began to argue with Bakugo until the teacher said, Teacher, oh right Bakugo, you and your friends want to go in UA 2, well you will go in recommendation. Izuku Yagi, you're going to UA 2, right? Then a silence filled inside the room before all of the students burst into laughter except Bakugo and his crew. Bakugo was pissed and slammed his hand in Izuku's table and said, Bakugo, hey, Deku, you're below the rejects. You're quirkless. How can you even stand in the same ring as me? Izuku, I'm only applying as a support hero. Izumi, okay, I thought you're going to be a hero? Bakugo, still I don't want you to get in my way. Izuku, don't worry, I won't do it. Bakugo, make sure it or else I will beat the... Bakugo was cut off by the teacher saying, Teacher, all right, Bakugo stopped this an instant. Bakugo just smirked before sitting down in his chair. After school, Izuku was about to leave when Bakugo took his hero analysis. Bakugo, what's this? Hero analysis for hero? You really are weird. Bakugo said as he exploded his notebook and threw it in the window. The notebook almost fell out when suddenly a boy named Tenko Shimura levitate the notebook. Tenko, Katsuki Bakugo, have you ever learned to not pick a fight on those people below you? Bakugo, what did you say? Tenko, I mean I'm saying that you maybe are weak cause you're fighting a boy that doesn't have a quirk, meaning that you're weak. Bakugo, what? Bakugo was cut by the class whispering that Tenko is right about Bakugo. Bakugo was pissed and he left the room with his crew. Tenko saw Izuku and float the bull buckle to him before giving it to Izuku. Tenko Shimura. Quirk? Ability, can float anything by using his mind and controlling it with his hand. Past. Tenko Shimura was Izuku's childhood friend. Suddenly Bakugo and the crew appear and ask Tenko to joining them. Tenko ignored it and he saw his friend being beaten by his other friends. Izuku, thank you Tenko, you know you're the only guy who really treat me good. Tenko, well what can I say except you're welcome. Tenko was cut off by a bully behind Izuku. The bully was about to punch Izuku when suddenly the boy's hand was stuck in the air. Tenko was confused until he looked at Midoriya. He saw Midoriya's hand open. Tenko then looked at the bully and used force push on the bully before leaving with Izuku. Izuku, where are we going? Tenko, to my master. Time skip in Dagobah. Izuku and Tenko have arrived in Dagobah. Izuku look at Tenko confused. Izuku, Tenko, why are we here? Tenko, I told you my master is here. The two boys then walked in the beach where they saw a green creature that is wearing a robe like clothes. The creature turned around and said, "You must be the new Jedi. My name is Yoda. Izuku, Ichai? Tenko. Well, Izuku, you will be trained by him and am going to leave. Izuku, wait, Tenko? Tenko, yes? Izuku, I didn't sign up for this. Tenko, Izuku, you said you want to be a Harry and here you now, training. Okay, you go to my father figure and train. Izuku, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity." Tenko then left a frozen Izuku because he said, "Father figure." Izuku turned back where he saw Yoda meditating and said, "Yoda, Izuku, begin we shall." Izuku is now training with Master Yoda by meditating in the air and building his own lightsaber by connecting with the Force. Yoda, Padawan Izuku, you must have a strong connection between the Force. Yoda saw Izuku is taking a hard time making the saber. Yoda was annoyed and walked to Izuku before smacking his head. Izuku, wow. Yoda, I said, you have to get closer to the Force, Padawan. Izuku, I'll try. Yoda, no you're not. Izuku? Yoda, I can feel your emotions, your anger, your hatred. You're mad cause your parents neglect you and your friends. You do know that this gives you the pathway to the dark side? Izuku, so what do I do? Yoda, it's not up to me, it's up to you to know your problem. Yoda said as he leaves the beach where Izuku is practicing. Izuku let out a sigh and meditate again. He used the Force and this time he used a better memory, Tenko and Izuku's memory. Izuku let out a tear, then suddenly his lightsaber started to be assembled. Izuku can feel the Force within him, helping him to his saber. After a minute the Force have finally finished his saber. Izuku then opened his eye and saw the floating lightsaber in front him. He took the saber and ignites it, making his saber color of a temple guardian saber. After watching the lightsaber, Yoda have arrived the cave and saw that Izuku have finally complete his lightsaber. Yoda smiled and say, "Yoda, don't worry Izuku, you got more way to go to become a gray Jedi." Yoda then ignites his lightsaber and Izuku ignite his saber. 10 hours later, Izuku is heading home and he already mastered Force Pull, Force Push and Force Levitate and how to use a saber. While Izuku is walking he was confronted by a thug. Thug, hey, give me your money or I'll kill you. Izuku just stared at the thug in a second until the thug make his first strike. Izuku used Force Push to the thug, making the thug send in a wall. The thug was stuck until Izuku picked a knife on his pocket by using Force Levitate. He took the knife and leave the thug stuck in the wall. While walking, Izuku arrived in his house. He entered inside and saw all of his family are watching movie night. Izuku doesn't care about it and head to the backyard. Izumi, who saw Izuku heading the backyard, decided to check him. She left the couch and saw Izuku levitating in the air, making Izumi shocked. Izumi, has a quirk? Izumi then took out her phone and called her friends and told them everything. They didn't believe that Izuku has a quirk cause they all know his a quirkless Deku. Izumi then stared at Izuku before going back to the living room. The next day, Izuku is now heading to school and he brought his lightsaber. Then suddenly he saw a villain fight in a bridge. Izuku decided to look and watch the incident. After the fight, Kamui Woods is disappointed that MP Lady gets all the credit and he doesn't. Izuku felt bad to the guy and he approached him. He was heading to Kamui Woods when he was confronted by MP Lady. MP Lady, oh, kid, do you need an autograph to Mlde? Izuku, I'm sorry, I'm here to cheer up Kamui. MP Lady was shocked and felt disappointed. In her whole life being a hero, many male would like to take an autograph but he doesn't. Back to Izuku. Izuku used Force Levitate to get into Kamui. Once he was at the top, Izuku approaches Kamui and said, Izuku, you know you will be the next victim of the hero killer, right? Kamui, who are you? Izuku, oh, where are my manners? My name is Izuku Yagi, but you can call me Ani. Kamui, well Izuku, I don't need your help. Izuku, you're just like the others. Kamui? Izuku, most people here wanted to see something flashy like that guy. Izuku pointed to the guy that said to Kamui to show Sumihing flashback. Izuku, he thinks that he is watching a talent show and look at those fangirls that you have. Doesn't this make Earth corrupted by heroes? Kamui, kid, you need to watch your mouth. Heroes are trying their best to. Izuku, quirkless. Kamui was confused on what he said and Izuku continue. Izuku, I was quirkless, I was treated like a trash. Many students doesn't want me to be a hero, they all treated me like a garbage until Izuku took his saber and ignites it. Kamui was shocked to the saber, including the other people behind them that are listening to their conversation. Izuku stared at the saber and said, Izuku, Kamui Woods, being a hero does not need fame, 'cause we people are the reason why villains exist. Try not to depend on the money and be a true hero. Izuku said as he used force levitate and walked land down. Kamui looked at lady and said, Kamui, he's right, heroism is not about money, I need to become a real hero, not a fake. At Izuku. Izuku have arrived in school and he was late. Izuku just walked in his classroom until the teacher noticed him. Teacher, Midoriya, you're late. Do you have an excuse for you being late? Izuku just walked towards the teacher. He then waved his hand in the teacher's face and said, Izuku, I am not late. Teacher, Midoriya, you're not late today. After the teacher said that, the whole class was shocked. Izuku, you will let me sit back in my chair. Teacher, Izuku, you may take a seat. The whole class jaw dropped and Izuku continues to walk on his sit. He then waved his hand back and said, Izuku, continue the class. The teacher snapped back but didn't remember anything. The whole class looked at Izuku. Izuku didn't care and ignored them. A guy then whispered in his ear and said, Student 1, prepare for the game later. Izuku then used force push. He pushed the student in the wall, startling the whole class. Izuku looked at the guy and pretended that he didn't do it. Time skip after school. Izuku was packing his stuff including his hero analysis when a Bakugo snatched it. Bakugo, what is this? Hero analysis for the future. I don't know what you did back to the teacher, but I think you pay it to pretend you Jave a quirk. Katsumi, and don't even think going to UA. Izuku, who wasn't listening and still packing his stuff. Shoto was pissed and sent a pillar of ice on Izuku. Izuku used force push, making the pillar of ice shatter. All of his classmates were shocked and couldn't process the situation. All of his classmates didn't expect Izuku having a quirk. Izuku was about to leave when he forgot his hero and slices that Bakugo was holding. He used force pull on the book and it started to fly over him. Izumi, now you believe me? Bakugo, how the heck did he have a quirk? Izumi, I don't know, but we can ask him later, but I have to tell my parents about it. Izumi said as she leave with her crew. After school, Izuku headed to Dajaba Beach where he will be trained by Yoda, but once he arrived he saw Tenko Shimura, his best friend, training with Yoda, and he also have his own lightsaber. Izuku was surprised of his training. Izuku then jumped down and approached Yoda. Izuku, Master, I see that my friend is getting better at the training. Yoda, indeed my Padawan, but you are not the only last Jedi. Izuku, what do you mean, Master? After hearing this, Tenko and the two felt a new and dying force. Izuku, Master? Yoda, I felt it too. Yoda then looked at the sky and said to himself, Obi-Wan, I see you've already teach the child. Yoda then looked at his two Odawan and said, Yoda, you two saber training now. Tenko and Izuku? Yoda, don't know me train AD tomorrow, you have to go in planet Yaven. Izuku, Master, isn't I mean what about our parents? Tenko, well, Yoda is my parent. Yoda then walked to Izuku and said, Yoda, Izuku, your parents have neglected you for years and I think that they wouldn't know it. Besides, I need to go in planet Dagobah. Tenko, are you? Yoda, no, Tenko, the force will guide in everywhere you go. Tenko then lol at Izuku and they prepared their battle stance before fighting and clashing their saber at each other. Time skip tomorrow. Izuku and Tenko have trained the whole hour without practicing, but they are still a Padawan. They too needed to train themselves to become a Grey Jedi, but for now they needed to do their missions go in planet Yaven. Izuku then head home and took all of his clothes. Before leaving he looked at his house and said, Izuku, I'm sorry sister, father and mother, but you've neglected me and hurt me for years. I need to live on my own now. Izuku then leave and started to run. AMD head him to Dagobah Beach. Once Izuku have arrived at the beach he saw Yoda and Tenko waiting for them. Izuku used force levitate to float and approach them. Izuku, Master, how are we going to Yaven? Yoda, don't worry my Padawans, I have something to give for you. Tenko. Yoda said as he used the force in the sand. The two Padawans were confused until they felt something trembling on the ground. They looked below and saw a spaceship that is being levitated by Izuku. Izuku, whoa. Tenko. Yoda, Now my Padawans, your Jedi clothes are already there and I want you to be careful. Both, yes master. Izuku and Tenko then walk inside the ship. Once they were inside the ship they saw an old Jedi clothes but not Jedi, dark Jedi. Tenko then walked to the pilot room where he saw many control panels and everything. As before they were about to leave, the police have arrived cause of the ship's sound. The two then panic and Tenko WWNT inside the pilot seat and then the cops jumps down. The cops started to shoot at the ship but luckily they have escaped. Tenko uses higher speed and they blast in the air creating a strong wind that makes the cops fly in the air. 10 hours later, Izuku and Tenko have seen the Death Star exploded and saw many rebellion leave the site and head to planet Yaven. Izuku, I guess we are late. Tenko, absolutely not. Izuku? Tenko, well I feel a strong force coming from that ship and I think that guy just finished the job. Izuku, so this is what Master want us to do. Did he want us to train him? Time skip later. Izuku have landed in Yaven and saw the Millennium Falcon in the landing zone. Izuku and Tenko then walked outside which makes all Fabelian look at us. A woman that looks like a princess walked towards the ship and said, "Who are you?" Izuku and Tenko ignites their saber, shocking all Rebel Ion including our new force. You are a Jedi? Izuku, indeed we are Emis Organa. My name is Izuku and this is my friend Tenko and we are here for the new Jedi. Izuku and Tenko was being escorted in their room but they need to give more explanation to Leia. Izuku, well I didn't expect that they'll took our sabers. Tenko, well calm down, I'm sure they have a reason for taking the saber. Izuku, like heck it was. After Izuku speak his comment the door in their room opened and then they saw Luke Skywalker. Tenko looked down making Izuku confused. Luke, you must be Jedi Knight? Izuku, Padawans were Jedi Padawans. Luke, oh so you're still a training Jedi? Izuku, sorry I forgot to introduce ourselves. My name is Izuku and this is Tenko. Tenko then waved his hand and gave a shy expression. Izuku who really think that he must be gay and have a crush on him and smiled. Izuku walked toward Tenko and whispers in his ear. Izuku, you have a crush on him? Tenko, what no? Izuku then looked at Luke and said, Izuku, I felt a strong and yo-yo weight Skywalker? Izuku and Tenko look at each other and they know what the name Skywalker is. Flashback before they leave. Izuku and Tenko were about to leave when Yoda tapped his stick at Izuku. Izuku, yes master? Yoda, I want something to tell you my Padawans. The two Padawans then listened to Yoda and he said, Yoda, before Jedi died there was a Jedi Master and his name is Anakin Skywalker. He betrayed the Jedi Order, he joined Sith Palpatine. Palpatine corrupt his mind saying that he can save his wife but it was too late. Obi-Wan Kenobi the master of Anakin Skywalker they fight each other to death until Obi-Wan has defeated Anakin and sooner later Anakin was revived and he become Darth Vader. After Yoda said the story, Tenko was more shocked. Izuku looked at Yoda and said, Izuku, how can we defeat him? Yoda, you weren't, his son will defeat him. Izuku, who? Yoda, it's up to you to know it. Flashback over. Luke, yes? My name is Luke Skywalker, is that a problem? Izuku, well now that you think of it, yes your father was once a great Jedi Master, he was one of the Jedi who finished Count Dooku but sadly his Padawan partner killed him. Luke, wait you know who my father is? Can I know who he is? Izuku, his name is Anakin Skywalker. Luke, so that means that I am a Tenko, a Jedi. Luke smiled and leave the room but Tenko was far more sadder than it. Izuku then sit in Tenko's bed and said, Izuku, you have a crush on him, do you? Tenko, is not that Izuku? Izuku then stand from the bed and stared at Tenko. Tenko, I am Tenko Skywalker. Izuku, wait what do you mean? Tenko, my name is Nit Tenko Shimura, it's actually Tenko Skywalker. Izuku was surprised at his comment and as he said, Izuku, isn't that wonderful you have a brother? Tenko, no, I'm disappointed that I thought if I know who my father is I will be safe from my parents but this is worst. I didn't expect that my father is a great Sith, I don't want my brother to know that his brother is a Sith. Izuku, I understand but once all of this is over we get to go back in Earth we can become a heroes. Tenko, well, I think you're right but we must train. Izuku, I'll get the saber. Izuku said as he left the room, and Tenko, who is disappointed TGST his sister is evil and he thinks that him too is evil. Few hours later, Izuku came back and they have 4 lightsabers. The other 2 was from Leia's father who gave to Izuku. Izuku gave Tenko his sabers and Izuku took his own saber. Tenko, I know this saber, this is from Kagan, Obi-Wan's master. Izuku, well I think it's your destiny to use the saber. But for now training is not over yet. Izuku said as he leaves the room Tenko and they both head to a training ground together. Once that we're at the training ground, Izuku ignites his new saber and it shows that it's a yellow light. Tenko then ignites his saber and it appears to be a green saber. The 2 Padawan look at each other and they both clash their saber to each other. Time skip 10 days later. Izuku and Tenko have finally become a Jedi Knights and they are both reigning again at the same training ground together. Izuku used force push on Tenko's foot making him fall in the ground. Tenko then stand up again and said, Tenko, I can do this all day. Izuku smile making Tenko smile too. The 2 Jedi Knights charge at each other before clashing their swords. After 10 days, Izuku and Tenko along with the other rebellions in planet Yaven have a report that Han Solo has been captured by the Empire and was given to Tatooine Most Pride Emperor Jabba the Hutt. Izuku and Tenko was more shocked at the event and they also heard that Cloud City sell Lei and the others out. Tenko, I couldn't believe Lando would betray us. Izuku, well we don't have time for chat, come on Lei sent us a mission, we must go in the old Jedi Temple. Tenko, old Jedi Temple? Izuku, yes, we're going to planet Coruscant. The 2 knights packed their bags and they walked in their ships where they saw many rebels waving at them. Soon the 2 knights fly off and they use hyperspeed and head to planet Coruscant. Once they have arrived in Coruscant they saw the planet is still okay. Description of planet Coruscant. Instantly recognizable by its distinctive crown of 5 spires, the Jedi Temple was the home of the Jedi Order on Coruscant. Back to Izuku. Izuku and Tenko landed in the old Jedi Temple where their task is to meet the Survivor Temple Guard. Izuku and Tenko landed in the top of the temple and they walked down slowly. Once they walked down slowly, a few stormtroopers have arrived and pointed their blaster in their face. Izuku, this will take a long time. The stormtrooper took their saber as well as their blaster and their ship. They take them both to an old prison. Izuku and Tenko saw many prisoners who lull at them while clenching their fist and giving glares at them. Izuku, oh no, oh think we're going to have a jail fight. Tenko, which is a good thing. Izuku, I think you're right. The stormtroopers then pushed the 2 knights in their cell where they found someone sitting and meditating. The 2 just ignored the guy until Izuku Yagi and Tenko Skywalker Jedi Knights and the Master of Yoda. Izuku, and who are you? My name is Dralig, I'm a temple guard. My name is Dralig. Izuku/Tenko, who? Dralig, I'm the temple guard that you're finding. Izuku, how did you know? Dralig, I can sense your force coming from planet Yanik. Izuku, well Princess Leia said that you can help us? Dralig, I can't say I can help you but you can train you. Tenko, well that was unexpected. Dralig then stand from his meditation and walk towards Izuku and Tenko revealing his temple guardian clothes. Ignore the saber. Dralig, so shall we begin training? Mintage training. Day 1. Izuku and Tenko have learned how to use force choke and how to use different weapons than lightsaber. They also have the ability to use sixth sense. Izuku and Tenko learn how to call other Jedi by using the force. Izuku have learned how to be patient and calm. And final day. Izuku and Tenko have to defeat Dralig. The both Jedi Knight prepare their battle stance. Dralig then didn't prepare but he remained calm. He closed his eyes and used sixth sense and he predicted everything that will happen in 2 minutes. The both knight charge towards him. Izuku sends a punch but Dralig ducked from the punch and backflipped Tenko who is about to kick him below. After Dralig backflipped Tenko, Izuku used sixth sense while facing back. Dralig then kicked Izuku but Izuku just sidestepped Dralig before kicking him in the head. Dralig managed to block the attack, then Tenko stands up and kicked Dralig making him fell on the ground. Two knights jumps in the air and clench their fist before making a strike on Dralig. Dralig kick jumped on them and he punched both of their face, sending them both in the cell gate. After the two knights hit at the bars, they both stand up and charge towards Dralig. Izuku and Tenko use sixth sense again, and then Dralig sends a punch. The two boys ducked and punched Dralig's back, sending him in the cell bars. Dralig was then knocked out and the two knight take their victory. Dralig then moved from the ground and Tenko and Izuku helped Dralig stand up. Dralig: "Gee, great job my students, but we're not done yet. This is only just your training. Why, you have more way to go to become a Jedi, but first, let's bust ourselves out of this cell." Two stormtroopers who heard the commotion from the cell and they both decided to check Izuku and Tenko's prison cell. They checked the cell and then suddenly the three Jedi Knights pushed the cell bars at the two stormtrooper and stuck them in the wall. The three Jedi goes out the cell and started to run out, then they were cornered by many stormtroopers. The knight then run back, then a bunch of stormtroopers are blocking the way. Izuku: "Oh no, I think that we might need something." Izuku look around and realize that they were in a prison. Izuku then force levitate the cell bars in every prison, leaving a smoke around. The stormtroopers then checked the cell bars until a giant tentacle grabbed the stormtroopers. All of the prisoners in the cell started to charge towards the stormtrooper, giving Izuku, Dralig, and Tenko an advantage to escape. The three Jedi Knight have managed to escape and Izuku saw the ship and they decided to run for it. While they were running, Faye saw many stormtroopers shooting at them. Izuku and Tenko use force levitate to stop the laser blast from killing them. Izuku then send the laser back to them, killing a few stormtroopers. The three knights then decide to split up. Izuku will get the sabers while the two will stay in the ship. Izuku then run inside the temple where he meet a royal guard. Izuku: "A royal guards, this will take a while." Izuku and the royal guards charge at each other. Izuku force push the first guard before taking the weapon. Izuku stabbed the second guard, then force choke the third guard, and Izuku just crushed the first guard's helmet and run inside. Once Izuku have arrived in the room, he saw 300 sabers from the past of the Jedis. Izuku then quickly find Hus saber and Dralig saber until he saw. "Cannot reveal, need ro wait too long ti know it." Izuku then ran back from where he entered and saw a stormtroopers arriving. They then shoot Izuku. Izuku ignites his saber and keep hitting the laser that are approaching him. Izuku then use force push, and he recently push a few stormtroopers at the edge of the landing zone, making them fall to their death. Izuku have then arrived at the ship where he was pushed by a dark Jedi. Izuku then took a battle stance and said, "Izuku, Grand Inquisitor. Gi. Izuku Yagi, the Grey Jedi of Hope, I will enjoy tormenting you, brat." Izuku: "The Jedi Order will soon not fall, for we Jedi are going to rise from the ground and we will make sure to bring peace. Gi, good luck." Izuku and Grand Inquisitor are staring at each other. A few minutes later, a group of stormtroopers came and pointed their gun towards Izuku. The Grand Inquisitor raised his hand and said, "Gi, do not interfere, he is mine spare." The Grand Inquisitor said as he ignites his double lightsaber. Izuku then ignites his two lightsaber. The two knight charge at each other and clash their saber at each other. "Gi, you need a teacher." Izuku: "I don't need you cause I have one." Izuku then kicked the Grand Inquisitor in the stomach and used force push, making him fell down in the ground. Grand Inquisitor stands up and spin his sabe, but this time Heil didn't spin it with his hand. The saber spin itself, creating strong force that no saber can touch it. The Grand Inquisitor charge at Izuku and collide his saber to Izuku. Izuku's saber is no match for the Grand Inquisitor's saber because of the amount of speed that is being released. Izuku was struggling with his saber and uses force push, and he pushed the Grand Inquisitor back. The Grand Inquisitor raised his hands above and started to fly and land to Izuku, making Izuku ignites another saber. The four sabers clash at each other, making a strong spark that can easily blind someone. Izuku then noticed that the saber has a weak spot. Izuku used force push again and he went to the center of the saber and he broke it. Izuku saw the stormtroopers are holding and Izuku used force push in the laser, giving it back to the stormtroopers. Izuku: "Tenko, start the ship." Tenko nodded and head to the pilot seat and starts the engine. The ship then float and approach Izuku, who instantly jump in the ship and leave. Before they could leave, the Grand Inquisitor is standing and use force pull on the ship. Tenko: "Izuku, in out of idea, what should we do?" Izuku: "Be patient, I have plan." Izuku think in a minute until he have a plan. Izuku: "Tenko, use hyperspeed." Tenko nodded and start the hyperspeed. The Grand Inquisitor noticed it and didn't react fast, and the ship use hyperspeed and fly away from the planet. The three-night cheer for victory except Izuku, who is smiling. Then suddenly he felt another force dying. Tenko and Dralig also felt the dying force, and Izuku know whose force was it. Izuku looked at the ceiling and said, Izuku, Master Yoda, you did a good job on training us, including Luke. Then appear behind Izuku is a Yoda's spirit force. Yoda spirit, Izuku, you grown well. Yoda said as he vanished behind Izuku. At Endor system, a Nay Death Star is being built, and we can see a hooded Sith is in his throne and watching everything that happened in the Jedi Temple. After Izuku left Earth, Izumi was sleeping until she woke up by Izuku taking his clothes. At first she thinks that Izuku will practice. She followed Izuku outside and saw him staring at the house. Izumi thought that she was caught until she hid beside the entrance/exit door and she heard, Izuku, sorry mom, dad and sis, but you've neglected me for years, now I will live on my own. At that comment Izumi cried and tried to call Izuku by shouting, but it was too late. Izuku left, leaving the crying Izumi kneel on the ground. Next day, Izumi woke up in her bed. She thought that everything that happened last night was just a nightmare. She ran towards Izuku's room to check if he was there, but once she opened the door she saw nothing. She only saw an empty room. Izumi fell down in her knee and cried. She then walked down and head towards her parents and said, Izumi, Mom, Dad. Izuku is gone. Izumi said, making her parents confused. Together they went upstairs and walked in his room. They opened the door and saw an empty room and a note. Hello my tormentors, this is Izuku Yagi. I left the house because I have a mission that I must fulfill. I left the house last night and I want you to know that you Jave to work hard to gain my trust. Because you've neglected me for years and haven't remembered a single beautiful thing that we did, and I am being bullied at school, so with all that I'm leaving and never go back. From Izuku. The two parents was shocked and Inko knelt on the ground and started to tear up. I forgot Inko is thin in this story. Day 1 without Izuku. Since Izuku was gone, many students want to release their anger on Izuku, but instead of doing that they beat up other quirkless kid. Izumi starts to beat up his classmates including Bakugo and Shoto for hurting innocent people. Day 3 to 6. Shoto and Bakugo stopped hanging out with us and Uraraka's family Jave a job on the dragon hero Ryuku. Day 7 to 8. Izumi and all might have started training One for All, sadly because of neglect Ion and abuse that they gave on Izuku. One for All decide to give Izumi a drawback on One for All. Every time she use One for All with far limits, Izumi's body will have a pain. Day 9 to 10. Izumi worked hard and harder to get to use One for All in 10%, and she kept putting a poster of Izuku is missing. At Yagi residence, Izumi is now taking a push-up and sit-ups and said, Izumi, I will be a hero, 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 I will be a hero. To be continue. Next chapter, Izuku and Luke vs Sidious and Darth Vader. Reminder, Izuku's new Jedi clothes. Izuku, I rise and you fall. After the battle Izuku head towards Sidious' room where he found Luke fighting Vader. Izuku stared at Sidious and said, Izuku, Sidious. Sidious, Izuku. Izuku ignites his saber and Sidious ignited his saber. The two stare at each other and started to charge at each other. Izuku dashed his saber to Sidious' red saber. Sidious, I can see your hatred, child, why don't you join me instead? Izuku, I am far to be a dark Jedi, and not only that I'm a gray Jedi. Izuku then pushes his saber to Sidious. Darth, who was behind him, almost got stabbed until Luke came and blocked Vader's saber and kicked him in the stomach. The two Jedi switch places and Izuku is fighting Vader and Luke is fighting Sidious. Izuku, Anakin, what are you doing? Darth, the name Anakin is long gone now. Izuku, what about Lady Padme? How will she think if she saw you like this? Darth, the Jedi killed Padme. Izuku, no, she died because she loved you. The Jedi didn't kill, neither do you. It was your hatred. You let the dark side swallow all of your love. Darth, foolish child, you don't know anything about my life. Darth said as use force push on Izuku. Izuku managed to stop it by using force levitate and said, Izuku, I know who you are. You're Anakin Skywalker, the Jedi Master, the father of Leia Organa, Luke Skywalker and Tenko Skywalker. Darth, stop. Darth Vader said as he used force choked on Izuku. Izuku was struggling until he was saved by Luke by doing force push. Izuku went unconscious while Luke is fighting Sidious. Luke was then pushed by Sidious in the edge. Sidious walked towards Luke and said, "Sidious, foolish child, you think you can beat me? I guess you're not worthy of holding the power of the dark side." "Luke, I don't need the dark side, I only came to save my father." Sidious was pissed and used force lightning on Luke. Luke was screaming and struggling in pain. Izuku woke up from his unconsciousness and saw Luke being electrified by Sidious. He also saw Darth standing from the ground and approaches Sidious. "Izuku, Anakin H help him H his why your son. T this I is W what P Padme W want why you to do, be there with your son." Izuku was cut her off by being unconscious. Darth Vader, who heard all of his comment, look at Luke and to Sidious. He carried Sidious and said, "Darth, no." Darth said as he left Sidious and was being electrocuted and throw him at the pit of the Death Star, and Sidious was screaming until he was gone. Luke stands up and saw Vader struggling from the electric and approaches him. "Darth, take my mask off." Luke nodded and slowly opened Vader's mask, and he saw something that made Luke shocked. He saw Vader's face pale and have burned skin on his face. "Darth, thank you Luke, I hope your brother and sister forgive me." "Luke, stay still, you'll be fine." "Darth, no, I'm fine now son, this is the end of my days, I can now be free, my mission here is done." Those were the last word that Vader said. Luke looked down and carried his father to his ship. He then went back to Izuku and carried him back to the ship when suddenly the Death Star is starting to explode. Luke put Izuku and Vader in the ship befit leaving the Death Star exploding. In Endor, Leia, Ewok, Han, Tenko and the other rebel ions started to cheer for victory, and Leia, who is talking to Tenko and Han, saying, "Han, I think he's fine." "Leia, I hope so." "Han, you like him?" At Han's comment, Tenko and Leia look at Han and think that Han is jealous and said, "Tenko, Hans, are you jealous?" "Hans, well, I can't argue if she likes him, I mean he's a good man." Tenko laugh at this situation, making Han Solo's confused until Leia, "Is not like that, he's my brother Han." Han Solo was shocked at her answer cause be remember that Leia kissed Luke in Cloud City. At Izuku, Izuku woke up from being unconscious and head out the ship where he saw Luke burning his father's body by placing woods in it. Izuku then approaches Luke and said, "Izuku, you know he's a great man." "Luke, I know but he's gone." "Izuku, gone? Well, you still have a chance to make new memory with your sister and Tenko," Izuku said as he leave the area where Darth Vader's grave is placed. "And being like is the force of Anakin, Obi-Wan and Yoda, and they vanish after seeing everything what Izuku said. Izuku and Tenko are in their room taking a rest before they leave planet Yaven and apply to UA. "Izuku, I can't believe that we're leaving today." Tenko, "Yeah, and when I found out who my family is I was happy, but I can't expect that we're leaving now." Izuku, "Well, if we're going back Earth we must change our names." Tenko, "I don't know about you but I already have one, Anakin Skywalker." Izuku, "Your dad's name?" Tenko, "Well yeah." Izuku, "Well mine is Sumire Dralig." Tenko, "That's good bu." Tenko was cut her of by Dralig entering the room. Dralig, "My Padawans, are you ready?" Both, "Yes master." Gi 3 Jedi walked out the room and head to their jet where they saw Luke wearing his fighter suit. Tenko then run towards them and said, "Tenko, where are you going?" Luke, "Master Yoda said that I need to rescue someone." Tenko, "Rescue?" Luke, "Yeah, Master actually feels another force from Moff Gideon's ship." Tenko, "And who might that be?" Luke, "Well, the kid's name is Grogu and he was adopted by a Mandalorian." Tenko, "Well brother, wish you good luck but we had to head back to Earth." Luke, "Yeah I know." After Luke comment was done, Leia came with Han Solo and noticing Leia is pregnant, Izuku, Tenko and Luke was shocked and said, "Tenko, am I mistaking or are you fat?" Leia then chuckled and said, "Leia, no Tenko, I'm pregnant." Tenko and Luke was surprised that Leia has a child but they didn't know who's the father so they have to ask. Izuku, "I'm Leia, who's the father?" Leia look at Han Solo making the three look at him. Izuku, "What's the kid name?" Izuku ask before the two can do it and Leia answer. Leia, Ben Solo." Izuku, "Just like Han's name 3 letters." The two chuckled at Izuku's joke. The two and Dralig took their bags and head to the ship but before they can enter Luke called them. Izuku, "Yes Luke?" Luke, "May the force be with you." Both, may the force be with you Oswell. Those were the last word that Izuku told to them before leaving planet Yaven and head to Earth. Then again they use hyperspeed and launch their ship fast enough to reach Earth. Once they arrived on Earth they land in Japan's Dagoba Beach. When they landed down they felt something happened here while they were gone. Izuku thinks that the Yoda Tgat Luke meet was Yoda's force and the realtors is in Earth. Tenko walked around including Dralig and Dralig saw something that he wasn't expecting. He called the two Padawans and the two Padawans head towards Dralig and saw Yoda's clothes. Izuku took the clothes and to force vision and saw Yoda battling the Inquisitors and they succeed to defeat Yoda. Izuku, the Inquisitors they were here? Tenko, but that's impossible, Master was in planet Dagoba? Izuku, I think the Yoda that Luke meet is Yoda's force and the dying Yoda in planet Dagoba was his dying force. Tenko, wait, does that mean that the Dralig? Yes indeed, the Emperor is alive. To be content. Reminder, hi, it's your written here to remind you that Izuku won't have a ship in this story and I was thinking Tenko could have, so I will let you vote and please vote it. I cannot vote if you didn't hold and press the name. Okay, here are the people. Shoka, Itsuka, Mirko, young Mirko, Femsensa, or Setsuna. Please vote currently cause I changed the week time on where I will post a chapter. Okay, bye. Izuku and Tenko are in the beach making Master Yoda's grave. Izuku, Inquisitors did this. In any time they will hunt is. Tenko, so what do we do? Izuku, they will not be able to hunt is cause we are the one who will hunt them. Dralig, Izuku is right, we must be prepared for training and Izuku. Give me the saber? Tenko, Izuku that's. Dralig, Ripper Blade. One of the most unique lightsaber above all. It says that this is very similar to Dark Saber but this is rare. Where did you found it? Izuku, at the temple. Dralig, this saber must be kept, no one should know this including your parents. Both, yes Master. Dralig, now. We must start the training. First month. Izuku and Tenko are destroying some dummies that Dralig made for them. Second month. Izuku is needed to learn to use the force under the water to make him think brighter. Third month. Tenko must know how to use force sight, or as I said it's called force sense. Description of force sight. Force sight, also known as force seeing or combat sense, was a basic force ability that was a variation of force sense. It enhanced the bearer's visual and spatial perception even in the dark or behind walls. Fourth month. Izuku learned how to use force vision, which is the ability to see something in the future. Fifth month. Izuku created a new saber. This saber releases a yellow light and it can also fuse to another saber, making it into a double-side lightsaber. 6-7 month. Izuku and Tenko are now close to become a Jedi Master and Izuku is needed to battle a real villain. That's when this happened. Boom bang splash. Izuku sense a force coming from a village nearby. Izuku and Tenko look at each other and nodded and head towards the village, leaving Dralig watching them by using force sight. At the village, a rank A villain named Muscular is fighting the water hose duo. The two heroes are beaten by the villain Muscular and the other civilian watch in horror. Civilian 1, stop you villain, you're killing them. Civilian 2, please I can't watch them getting hurt. Muscular, how what did you say? Muscular said as he dropped Hosu and Mizu crawled to Hosu. The villain approaches the civilian and was about to land his fist into them when suddenly Mizu send a wave of water towards Muscular which deal no effect. Muscular look at Mizu as he approached them and said, Muscular, die heroes. Muscular then sends a punch towards Mizu and Hosu and they both said in their mind, Koda, I'm sorry. Boom boom. Muscular was laughing until he looked at the ground and saw nothing. He only saw a crater that he created, but he didn't saw the two heroes. People like you need to learn manners, slaughter, torture, and I tell you now you're going to face us. Izuku, Tenko, Muscular, and who are you? Muscular saw the two Jedi standing while carrying Hosu and Mizu in their arms. Izuku, who we are doesn't concern your needs. Tenko, people like you doesn't deserve another chance. Muscular, yeah, because you won't be alive to do it. Muscular sends a punch towards the both Jedi only for his hands to be cuter by the two sabers that Izuku and Tenko ignites. Muscular scream in pain and regrow another muscle and punch Izuku's blade, but it was a mistake that he made. Muscular hands was cut again by Izuku. Izuku look at Muscular and use force push at Muscular, sending him to a house. Izuku, Tenko take the water hose duo. Oh safety, I'll take this guy on myself. Somewhere, a boy watching a TV with his aunts and friends and they saw what happened. Gay thought that Mizu and Hosu are dead when the two Jedi came and helped them. The boy was happy that his parents are alive, but he was now worried for Izuku fighting Muscular. Back to the fight. Izuku is approaching Muscular and said, Izuku, you are now here sitting in a rock for nothing. You look like a long but you acted more like a maniac. Muscular, maniac is what I consider for myself great. Izuku, then show me what is great about. Izuku then took out another saber and ignites it. He does both of his saber, which creates a double-side saber. Muscular, I want to know your name? Izuku, what? Muscular, your name? Izuku, my name is Samire. Muscular, well Samire, it's nice to meet a worthy opponent, but you won't win this time. Izuku, winning isn't from the lips, it's from the heart. Muscular then charged towards Izuku only to be defeated by a force push. Izuku sends thousands of rocks at Muscular, trapping him inside. Izuku, not so tough now, huh? I'm done here. Izuku said as he walked into the smoke, disappearing from the civilian's sight. Civilian 1. Who is that? Civilian 2. Is that a hero? Civilian 3. Wow, he's so cool. Civilian 4. How come he defeat that villain while the water hose can't? The civilian saw a figure in a distance and saw the water hose duo laying on the ground. The civilian goes to them and check their pulse and it's still beating. The civilians let out a sigh of relieved and they look at a building and saw two figures, then they vanish. Back to the training. 6th to 10th month. Izuku and Tenko can now fully use instinctive astrogation, which can sense-based force ability that permitted the user to find a route through hyperspace that was fast and safe without the help of a navigation computer or astromech droid. After the training, Izuku and Tenko are now laying on the ground very tired while Dralig is in the ship drinking waters and eating foods. Izuku, Master C, can WW have some? Tenko, Sensei, we're dying from hunger plessy. Dralig, okay here. Dralig gave Izuku and Tenko a meal and a water and the two started to eat up very fast until they were done. Tenko, that's one heck of a ride. Izuku, Dralig thought. I guess Yoda and Obi-Wan was right, these two kids may be our hope to defeat the Empire. I need to train them more, but I can't train them by just training. Maybe they need to go to UA. Sigh. Okay, tomorrow my Padawans, you'll be going to UA. To be continue. Next chapter, entrance exam. Izuku and Tenko are ready Yogo in UA, but they could enter the exam. They needed to wear a mask to keep their identity away from other people. Izuku, Tenko, I think we can finish this exam with a bit of seconds. Izuku said with smirk. Tenko looked at him and said, Tenko, you're being prideful, Samire. Izuku, wait, did you just call me by my fake name, H? Tenko, shoo, you don't want people to KNPW us, right? Izuku, right, anyways I brought my mask. Tenko, you what? Izuku, I bought our Jedi mask. Tenko then facepalmed himself and said, Tenko, why did you bring it? Izuku, well, we're doing entrance exam, right? And I can feel something is coming. Move on your left. Izuku said as Tenko moved to the right and Izuku moved to the left, and at their center a girl that has a bob hairstyle suddenly tripped, making her to fall down. Luckily for Izuku and Tenko, they managed to dodge it, or they will trip too, just like the girl. Izuku look at the girl and notices that it's Uraraka. Izuku saw Uraraka doesn't even land on the ground and her body is levitating. Izuku thought, is this a force? No, it's Izumi. Tenko thought, oh great, the tormentors are here. Tenko, sir, let's go. Izuku nodded and they both head inside the entrance exam. After doing some few tests, the two Jedi Knights have entered their last waxam. They both went to their seats and Izuku then saw that he doesn't sit with Tenko instead of him, he sit in a guy with purple hair. Izuku thought, why do I feel a strong force connecting through him? Maybe I'm imagining thing. Izuku was cut off by Presentic shouting yet. After Present Mike shouted, no one replied back to him except Izuku shouting yet, making all competitors stare at him. Present Mike, thank you young listener, with that you'll get 10 points. The competitors was shocked and they began to shout yeah, but it was too late for them to shout. Later Present Mike explains everything including the student's task and objectives. Present Mike was about to finish when Glasses raised his hand and said, Glasses, Sir, you said that there are only 3 robots, but in this paper it says that it has 4. If this is a mistake, then you should be ashamed for this and you. Glasses pointed at Izuku and said, Glasses, you have been mumbling this whole time. It's distracting the others. If you keep doing that, then you should leave. The Glasses says as Izumi shut her mouth and making Bakugo and Shoto mad. Shoto, hey, shut your mouth. You said she's distracting, but in my point of view you are the one that is distracting the other. Shoto was cut off by Present Mike saying, Present Mike, alright, you see the 4th robot is called the Inferno Rebo, which has no points, but if you see one you should avoid it at all costs. Now go outside and your exam is going to start. They all nodded and head out the room. Izuku then saw that Yenko is with him. Izuku, dude, I lost you back there. Where were you? Tenko, I was down. Izuku, ugh. At the exam gates. Izuku is now standing wearing his armor, including Tenko. Many people look at them and saying that Tenko's costume looks villainous. Izuku looked at the other competitors and said, Izuku, for me you all are a villain. Competitor 1, what did you say? Izuku, I'm saying that you're the villain. One, know why? Because you are the reason why villains exist. Competitor 1, oh, you wanna fight? Haha, take this. The guy said as he throw a punch for Izuku, but was stopped when Izuku used force choke on the guy. He walked slowly to the guy and said, Izuku, what did you say, wanna fight? Well, hear why. Izuku was cut off by the Glasses boy that Shoto argue with and said, Glasses, hey, this is a hero course, not villain course. I think you should leave so we can do our exam properly. Izuku, what do you know about heroism, hubbo? Nothing. And nothing. You act like a president, but you don't look at yourself. You look like a male version of a Karen, and you said him a villain? Lida, I didn't. Competitor 2, but you just said Thea isn't a villain course. Are you saying that we are villain too? Lida, Luda was cut if again by Present Mike shouting. Izuku and Tenko Tben started to run, leaving the other competitor confused. Present Mike, what are you doing standing there? There's no countdown in this ecom, so go. All of them was shocked and they all proceed to rub inside. To be continue. Okay, so I look again at Tenko X, and I found out that Ruko, 7 points. Itsuka, 1 points. Setsuna, 4 points. So that means young Mirko is the winner. Izuku then was rushing in the city and had destroyed 7 robots, and he have 21 points, and he needed to get and destroy 15 robots to get more points. Izuku began to destroy Aom 3-pointers by using lightsaber and force crush in the robots. Izuku, I guess that's all? Izuku then used force sight and saw Tenko have destroyed 17 robots. Izuku then smirked and continued to destroy some robots again, giving all competitors to look at him. Competitor 3, WDF? Competitor 4, how can he do that with a glow stick? Competitor 5, that's badass. Competitor 6, I want to ask him out. Back to Izuku. Izuku then got 100 points and he decided to take a rest in a nearby building in the exam test. Izuku, I'm bored. Oh, I wish Tenko have done all of it. Yep, I sure did. Izuku, WDF. Izuku was surprised to see Tenko in a building close to where Izuku is taking a rest. They were able to connect by using force sight and interact. Izuku, hey Tenko, before we enter the exam I felt another force. Tenko, yeah, I felt it too. I think it was that guy that you're sitting with. Izuku, I know, but what is his connection between the force? Is his parents a Jedi? Tenko, maybe, but if he really is then we must train him. Izuku, I agree, I look for him. Tenko, I'm coming too. Izuku, okay, I go left and you go right. The two look at each other and nodded before jumping out of the building using force levitate, and they both in their separate ways to find the kid. While they were searching for the purple hair kid, Izuku felt something bad is happening and it's coming below them. He looked down and saw the ground is trembling, and then suddenly a huge robot called 0-pointer appear, and he also saw Uraraka stuck in rock and saw other competitors leaving the area. Izuku, retards. Izuku then jumped, then making a cool landing. Glasses, Het, what are you doing? You can't fight that thing alone. Izuku then smirked and raised his hand pointing towards the 0-pointer. He opened his palm and closing it, making the 0-pointer crush. Oh, death. After that happened, Izuku walked out where he was stopped by the Glasses kid. Glasses, hey, aren't you gonna help her? Izuku, no, and beside we're in UA and we must learn that what and how to use our quirks just like her. Her quirk is gravity, right? Uraraka, who is stuck in a rubble, and said, Uraraka, How? Izuku, I can hear all of your thoughts and I know that if you touch something you can make them float. Uraraka looked at Izuku before touching the rubble then started to float making her to break free and then she released it after leaving the area. She approached Izuku and panting really hard. Uraraka, TT thanks. Izuku, weak. Izuku then leave the area and Uraraka make a sad look blaming to herself why he gets mad. Glasses then approach Izuku while chopping the air complimenting him but Izuku just ignored it before levitating in the air. At observation room. All of the teachers saw the power of Izuku, all of them was shocked. They didn't expect to see a student that can crush a zero-pointer by using a one hand. Nizu, I want him and him in my class. All of the staff was surprised to see Aizawa called dibs on Izuku and Tenko to be his student. Nizu, okay Aizawa. Now what are those kids' name? Thought, he really is powerful, I should have gave one for all to him than giving it to Izumi. The staff then searched for the kid's name and they found the name. The staff handed the file to Midnight. Midnight. Their names are Samire Dralig and Anakin Skywalker and they arq quirkless. The last part that Midnight said making everyone shocked in the room including the big blonde guy named All Might. Nizu, I want to meet them after the exam. All of the staff nodded and proceed to do their work in the exam. All Might look at a screen where he can see Izuku/Samire flying. All Might. Could he be Izuku? I have to call Inko and tell her about it. After the entrance exam Izuku and Tenko was informed to go and meet Nexu. In 5 minutes the two knights was confused but they have no choice but to go with it. Izuku, I wonder what they needed? Tenko, they must have know who we... Tenko said as he became speechless as he saw a girl with white hair and had rabbit ears walking outside the exam. Tenko then dropped his jaw after he sees the girl. He then decided to talk to the girl but he was dragged by Izuku saying, Izuku, Anakin, we're here for school not for love and also I don't want you to end up like Anakin. Tenko then went silent while being dragged by Izuku in observation room. Once they have arrived in the observation room they saw many staff there including Inko, aka Green Magnet. Inko then approached Izuku and said, Inko, Izuku, is that you? Izuku, I apologize but my name is Samire Dralig not Izuku. Inko, oh sorry. Inko then grew after knowing that Samire isn't what her looking for. Two knights then walked to Nizu and said, Izuku, what do you want for us? Nizu, hello Samire Dralig and Anakin Skywalker, my name is Nizu, am I dog? Am I a mouse? A rat? A ba? Nizu was cut off by Tenko saying, Tenko, just get to the point? Nizu, I just saw this file and it says that you're quirkless? Are you really quirkless? Izuku, oh I apologize, we mostly forgot to list down our quirk because we were too excited to go in UA. Nizu, may I know what your quirks are? Izuku, well our quirk is called telekinesis, it's similar to green plasma but it's more stronger than that. Nizu, well, are you two brothers or? Izuku, oh we're related to each other. Nizu, but what's the drawback? Izuku, well if give us the ability to control other people but erasing quirk doesn't work on this here, let me test it. He walked to Midnight, he waved his hand and said to her, Izuku, what is your biggest secret? Midnight, my biggest secret is that I have a picture of naked Aizawa in my room. Izuku didn't expect this to happen but all the staff was shocked including Aizawa. After Izuku did the mind control, Midnight ran out of the room in embarrassment. Izuku, now shall we go? Nizu, why yes. Izuku and Tenko then walked out the office leaving speechless Aizawa and staff in the room. To be continue. New force of Jedi will come to the soonest chapter. He was treated as a villain because of his quirk, he was bullied by his quirk but now he and his brother will stand up and become the strongest Jedi. Who is he? Itoshi. Izuku is now in the beach meditating and saying the Grey Jedi code with the Force. Izuku, there's no light without the dark, through passion I gain focus, through knowledge I gain power, through serenity I gain strength, through victory I gain harmony. There is only Force. Izuku then repeat everything over and over while being calm. Then suddenly Tenko came in with his uniform and said, Tenko, Izuku. We're late. Izuku, okay but be patient, we will get there in time. Tenko, okay. Tenko then leaves the room while Izuku is inside changing himself into his school uniform. After Izuku changed his clothes, him and Tenko then head to their new ship that Luke gave FO them. They both ride the ship and head off with Dralig standing in the old ship while waving his hand to them. Once Izuku and Tenko leave, many people saw the ship and they immediately took a photo of it. When they arrived at Yum, many students look at them and they weren't a strong wind that is being released while landing down. When they got off they saw Principal Nizu waiting for them. The two boys was confused and then Nizu said, "Nizu, Mr. Dralig and Mr. Skywalker, it's so glad to see you." "Izuku, sir, can you help us in something?" Nizu, "Well, give it away." "Izuku, I just noticed that UA have support course and I would like if I is close the whole UA for a second." Nizu, "A why?" "Izuku, it's just a second." Nizu ran sigh and pressed the knockdown protocol button, then all UA closes, leaving all students and staff inside very confused. "Nizu, now what do you—" Nizu was cut off by Izuku using force. "Go hid the ship now. The ship is invisible to other people except Izuku and Tenko." "Nizu, where's the ship?" Izuku then stared at the invisible ship, leaving Nizu confused. "Nizu, wait, how did you do that?" "Izuku, that's part of our quirk, we can create illusion." Izuku lied again to Nizu and they head inside the school when suddenly they felt a strong force coming from above the first building. "Izuku, Tenko." "Tenko, yeah, I felt that too." "Izuku, we'll find him/she later, but for now we must go to our class." Tenko nodded and they both use force sight to search their class section and they successfully found it. Few minutes later, Izuku and Tenko have arrived in class 1A and once they have opened it they saw the glasses kid gesturing Bakugo. "I forgot they are still wearing their mask except their Jedi suit." "Glasses, hey, put your feet down and show some respect." Bakugo, "Huh, what are you, some kind an extra that follow rules?" Glasses, "I apologize for not introducing myself. My name is Tenya Lida from some high private school." Once Izuku have entered he was met by a pink-haired girl and said, "Pinky, hey, you're that kid that destroyed the zero-pointer. What you did back there is so amazing. What's your name?" "Tenko, my—" Tenko was cut off by Izuku touching his shoulder and shooting his head. Tenko then nodded and entered the room, leaving the pink girl confused. Then suddenly, swash, the glasses boy run towards Izuku with amount of speed and stop in front of them, but not stop. He was kicked by Izuku in the stomach, sending him through the wall, shocking the whole class. Then a red-haired boy stand up and said, "Spiky hair, hey, why did you do that?" Izuku then went towards glasses and helped him stand up. "Izuku, I humbly apologize for my act. I thought that you're going to attack us, so that's why I send the first blow." "Ida, it's fine, I really didn't mean to scare you like that." "Izuku, well, now that's over, I have to head to my seat." Lida, who was holding his stomach, and nodded and the both knights head back to their seat. Tenko then saw the bunny girl sitting behind him and Tenko blushed under the mask. Then suddenly Izumi, Shota, Uraraka and Katsumi arrive. "Katsuki, took you far enough to come here." "Izumi, as if you expect us to come here late." "Shoto, don't bother him." "Izumi." "Uraraka, remember he's the reason why he left." Izumi look at Bakugo then look away and saw Izuku and Tenko. She approaches them and said, "Izumi, hi, I'm Izumi Yagi." "Tenko, Anakin Skywalker, and this is my cousin Samir Dralig. He really don't speak to people slot except for him." Tenko pointed at Lida and Izumi raised her hand and said, "Izumi, I hope we get along." Izumi said, giving a bright smile, and all of the students were like in relief to see it. Izuku replied by saying, "Izuku, your smile 5 joy and relief to everyone, but I felt inside you make someone leave." Hearing that shocked the Izumi gang and confusing the class until a bag came inside and said, "Worm, if you'd here to make friend then I suggest you should leave." Izuku and Tenko are now in the changing room, so as the other boys while taking a dress, Izuku took of his mask, revealing a disposable mask that is attached in his face with his hair down. Then someone walked to him and said, "Kirishima, bro, how did you got this training and this scars?" "Izuku, I don't need someone to know all my personal stuff, so please give me some space." Kirishima, "Oh sure." Kirishima then gave Izuku some space and Izuku have already finished changing into his PE, including Tenko. They both walked out, leaving everyone looking at them. At the training ground, Izuku and Tenko have already arrived in the training ground and in a seconds the class arrive in the training ground and they were late. "Aizawa, you're late, and within that the last one who have score in the board will be expelled." Everyone except Momo, Tenko and Izuku yelled, "Why does he need to expel the last student?" Uraraka, "Sir, you can't do that, we just started." Izuku, "Oh shut it." All of Class 1A look at him and Izuku continues. Izuku, we are in training courses and you're saying you get started if you can't stand with sensei's decision, then you're weak, pathetic, worthless hero, so I suggest you do what he says if you don't want to hear those words in your life. Aizawa was shocked in his comment, including Class 1A. Aizawa thought, this kid is something. After that, Aizawa took a ball and a phone where they will put the score. He then tosses the ball to Izuku, making Bakugo expect that he will toss the ball. Izuku was ordered by Aizawa to stand in the circle. Izuku nodded and walked to the circle, and Izuku began to say the Grey Jedi Code and stared at the ball. The force suddenly appear and it's flowing in Izuku. Izuku closed his eyes before opening it and he tosses the ball in the air, making a huge impact. Half of the class felt the strong wind, making the flying great boy fly into the air and landing in the wall if UA building. Once everything is done, Aizawa showed everyone the score and it shows 3.99 km. All of the class was shocked, but not all of them. Bakugo was pissed and started to toss himself towards Izuku. Aizawa was about to use his quirk on Bakugo, then suddenly Bakugo started to levitate IB the air. He looked at Izuku and make him fly again with an explosion, but nothing happened. Izuku used force sight and saw everything. He then began to say, Izuku, Katsuki Bakugo, son of Masaru and Mitsuki Bakugo. I know you. I just use my sight to see all and I know what happened to him. The Izumi gang went wide-eye, including Aizawa. Lida was about to stop them, but Aizawa declined Lida's decision. Izuku, wait, you haven't told society yet? Okay, I'll tell it right now. Izuku Yagi was once happy boy and lovely child until his life was shatter. He was deemed quirkless and his lifestyle down by what exactly he was bullied by his sister Izumi Yagi. Izuku pointed at Izunu, making all class look at her. She put her head down and Shoto approaches him and said, Shoto, you better stop this right now. Aizawa, stop Todoroki, I want to hear more. Shoto, but sir? Aizawa, no buts, I want to hear it. Shoto then walked back to Izumi and tried to comfort her. Izuku then saw Bakugo floating and his eyes were filled with fear. Izuku, she bullied her brother because she wanted to keep him safe, but no. This guy was the reason why Izuku Yagi was bullied. He think that he will get Izumi all by herself. He think that once Izuku Yagi is gone in his life, nothing will stop him from marrying Katsuki Bakugo. Bakugo was shocked and looked at Izumi, who was confused. Izumi walked towards Bakugo and said, Izumi, is it true? Please Bakugo, tell me the truth? Bakugo, yeah, I mean, who would like a quirkless loser like him in this place? Before Bakugo could continue everything, Izumi slapped Bakugo in the face and said, Izumi, I couldn't believe you. You tricked me, corrupt me to hurt my brother? That's the reason why I wouldn't love you. But because I have more feelings to Sonyeon and he comforted me while Izuku is gone, I don't want to see your face near me. Izumi then walked off and Izuku dropping Bakugo, who was pissed. Bakugo, this is your fault. Bakugo was about to hit Izuku, but Izuku uses force push on Bakugo, sending him to the building in UA. Aizawa, okay, no fitness test, that means no one will get expelled and all of you go inside except Dralig. Everyone, yes sensei. They all bowed down to Aizawa before leaving. Eat Gecko, who wanted to stay. Aizawa ordered him, but Tenko denied. Izuku, I would like is could come with me. Actually, we both know the truth. I was neglected by my family, tortured by my sister, but now I have my place to become a Jedi Master. Puma, I'm Samayer. Izuku and Tenko headed to the principal's office where they meet All Might and Nizu. Inside, the two knights was escorted inside the office. Izuku, why are we here? Nizu, I believe you know where Mr. Yagi is? Izuku, I don't, that I said was part of my quirk. Nizu, but you said your quirk is called telekinesis. Now I'm confused, please tell me the truth? Izuku, like I said, my quirk is telekinesis. It's more stronger than Green Plasma's quirk. I can mind control someone and see their hidden secret and can read their minds. Nizu, and how can I tell if you're telling the truth? Izuku, okay. All Might has a quirk called what's that again? Oh yeah, one. This shock All Might and Nizu and Aizawa. They didn't expect someone will know the secrets of One for All. Izuku, since I am here, if you want to know more, I need something in exchange. All Might, boy, you're too young to make deals, but I wish to know more. Nizu, okay, what do you need? Izuku, I need to find a boy with purple hair. Nizu nodded and took out 6 files with contains of students that have purple hair. Each by each, Izuku searched the files until he found what he need. Shinso, Quirk, brainwashed. Description allows him to put someone in a state where the victim is forced to obey whatever he commands. He can only activate this power when his target verbally responds to him. Izuku, this is it. Tenko, look, he's at Class C. Izuku, okay Nizu, we're going to leave. If you need something, just go in Dagoba Beach. Nizu nodded and the two boys storm off and headed to Class C. Then suddenly, Izuku and Tenko saw an Inquisitor inside UA. The Inquisitor broke inside by breaking the glass without anyone knowing or hearing it. The two knights then used force sense. Then another Inquisitor came by, and this time there are 10 of them. Grand Inquisitor, hello Izuku, we've finally met again. Izuku, Grand Inquisitor. Grand Inquisitor, sorry but I'm not here for you, I'm here for the boy, we need him to revive the Emperor. Izuku, not in my way. Izuku's clothes then turned into his Jedi battle suit, including Tenko's battle suit. Tenko, Samire, no one should find this out. Izuku, I know. Izuku then used force lightning and shocked the whole building, including the staff except the Inquisitors and Izuku. The whole student and staff then went unconscious and the two knight ignites their saber. Izuku, Tenko, I'll take care of them, you'll find Shinso. Tenko nodded and Izuku charged at the 8th brother who was in front of them, and Izuku and the 8th brother clashed their saber at each other, making Tenko have the time to get to Shinso. The fight brother then pushed Izuku to the 10th brother and Izuku ignites his second saber before clashing at the 10th brother's lightsaber. Izuku, the boy will not go in the dark side. 10th brother, oh, we didn't say he'll go to the dark side. Grand Inquisitor, he dark side shall swallow the boy. In a void. Shinso is in the space, then he is doing 3 lights, white, red, and blue. Then he heard a man laughing maniacally. Shinso, who are you? He heard another laughter again, and then Gi laughter turned into the voice of Darth Vader. Then he heard the voice of Obi-Wan saying, the Force is the pathway that can help you to your future. Obi-Wan's voice turned into Kagan's voice, may the Force be with you. Then it turned into Yoda's voice, you are the new hope. Shinso then was being pushed by an immense force. Then he woke up in Izuku's ship. Shinso looked around and saw Izuku sitting. Shinso, who are you? Izuku, allow me to introduce myself, my name is Izuku Yagi, but my disguise name is Samire Dralig. Shinso, so what do you prefer? Izuku, Samire. Shinso, did you kidnap me? Izuku, no, actually we saved you. Shinso, save me from what? Izuku, we saved you from the Inquisitors, one of Empire's greatest allies. Shinso, what do they need to me? Izuku, you're probably related to the Emperor, that's why they tried to catch you. Shinso, if I'm related to the Emperor, is that good or bad? Izuku, oh, that's very bad. Here, I'll tell you something before we train. Shinso, train? But I didn't sign for this. Izuku, if the Inquisitors tried to catch you, then you are no match for it. Shinso, but I have brainwash Quirk. Izuku, trust me kid, you don't need a Quirk on this training cause you will learn how to interact with the Force. Shinso, Force? Izuku, yes, Force is a mysterious energy field created by life that binds the galaxy together. Harnessing the power of the Force gives the Jedi, the Sith, and others sensitive to this spiritual energy extraordinary abilities, such as levitating objects, tricking minds, and seeing things before they happen. Shinso, Jedi, Sith? Izuku, Jedi were powerful Force wielders and adjudicators tasked by the Galactic Republic to be the guardians of peace and order. Then we have Siths, an order of Force-sensitive beings who use the dark side of the Force. Shinso, sorry but I need to leave, don't know if I could trust you. Izuku, suit yourself kid, if you leave without any Jedi training then your parents will be in danger. Before Shinso could leave he realizes what Izuku just said and he accepted. Izuku, good, now follow me. Izuku ordered Shinso and he obeyed, and they both go out the ship where they found Luke training Grogu, Ahsoka meditating, Tenko having a sword training duel with Dralig, and Bo-Katan fixing her gun. Izuku, oh, this are Luke, Tenko, yes, Bo-Katan, Master Ahsoka and Master Dralig, and this greenie is Grogu. Grogu then looked slowly towards to Shinso and Shinso waved his hand slowly, making Shinso realize why he'd waved to the little greenie. The both proceed to walk away from the area, and then they walked into a giant rubble on the sand. Izuku, here, I want you to sit here. Shinso, what? Izuku, I'll show you. Shinso didn't know what he's doing, so he nodded and do an Indian sit in the rubble. Shinso, so what do I do? Izuku, I need you to repeat after me. The Izuku was cut off by Shinso memorized the Jedi code without Izuku repeating all. Shinso, there is no emotion, there is peace, there is no ignorance, there is knowledge, there is no chaos, there is harmony, there is no death, only force. Shinso says the last Jedi code when his eyes glowed and a strong force field appeared around him. Then a Sith symbols came from the rocks and it creates a circle which shocked Izuku and said, Izuku, he really is the sun. While Shinso is meditating, Izuku head back to the crew and he saw them still doing their work. He walked at the front and said, Izuku, alright. We have some good news and some bad news. Which one do you want to hear? The Soka, good one. Izuku, it appears that Shinso Hitoshi is a Jedi. The crew smiled at the comment and then they asked what's the bad news. Izuku, he's the son of the Emperor. This shocked the whole Jedi crew and Luke ignites his saber and said, Luke, he must be executed, even though he has a Jedi heart we still can't trust him. Izuku, Oil lists I know he is the son of the Emperor but he has the spirit of the Jedi, I can see it. Dralig, yes? Izuku, I want to be Shinso Hitoshi's master. All of them gasped from his decision and said, Ahoka, but you're still a Jedi Knight. Izuku, just like Master Obi-Wan he trained Anakin, I think I can handle it. Dralig, okay Izuku, I will approve but I need you to be careful. Izuku nodded and head to the ship where he replaced his saber and turned it into a white and black saber. Izuku, sigh, I hope I'm right with my decision. Izuku then took his lightsaber and out it in his pocket. He wore his uniform and before he could leave he saw someone behind him. He lulled behind very quick and the guy was gone. He was confused at a moment and think that it's just his imagination. In nowhere, a man wearing a black Sith clothes named fanchristpo, who is holding a double-sided saber in his hand. He then swing his saber and stabbed a stormtrooper and force choke a stormtrooper in his left and force push a stormtrooper in a lake where it is being swarmed by an alien monster. Then another Jedi appear and force push the stormtroopers out of their way and then a stormtroopers appear behind them and was about to enter their area when the Jedi uses force levitate the giant rubble and close the entrance. The Jedi then reveal himself as a Jedi holding a two white lightsaber. This is Jedi Master Yaven. Corp saw Finellis keep slaughtering a bunch of stormtroopers and Corp doesn't intend of stopping him from killing more stormtroopers. Finellis, where is he? Finellis says as he keeps slashing and stabbing some stormtroopers, he then keeps shouting the name of Revan's sons. Finellis, where is Revan's son? Back to Izuku. Izuku, Tenko, and Shinso are now heading to UA and Shinso have mastered force sight and force push. Tenko, so, Shinso right? Shinso, Tenko, so you're the son of the Emperor, huh? Shinso, yeah, I guess I think my father being a villain make me look like a villain? Izuku then smacked Shinso's head and said, Izuku, shut the F up, you may be the son of the Emperor but you have the force within you. Tenko, wait, what did you said? Izuku, I said Shinso that he can be a Jedi and yada 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 and blah blah blah. Tenko, not that, the thing that you said? Force in you? No, you're the fork, damn it. Izuku, you mean force within you? Tenko, yeah, what if we make that our hero name? Izuku, that's dumb but I like it. Shinso, guys. We're going to be late. Izuku, don't worry, we're using my ship, that means we can get there in time. Izuku said as he used full thrusters and fly ahead to UA. Once they arrived, many students saw it and quickly approached it. Then Izuku's Tenko Shinso comes out the ship and saw many students looking at them. The two knights look at each other and they both look at the students and said, Tenko and Shinso, leave this instant and ignore the ship. The both said as they waved their hands towards the students and they obeyed except for a pink-haired girl. The pink-haired girl quickly approaches Izuku and Tenko and said, Pinky goggles, hey JS, that yours, can I check it? Gi pink-haired girl said as she tried to walk inside but Izuku pushed her and said, Izuku, whoa, calm down. Tenko, yeah, also you can't let you do that, maybe later. Pink goggle, okay, I'll look forward to wait, I may hatsum. Izuku, Samayer Dralig. Tenko, Anakin Skywalker. Shinso, Hitoshi Shinso. In a moment Hatsum saw the lightsaber and took it immediately without Tenko reacting to it. May, hey, what's this? Tenko, give that back. May, what can this thing do? Izuku the use force pull on the saber and grab it and said, Izuku, may hatsum if you want to know you must be trained by us to know it so if you'll excuse me we have to get back to class cause we're getting late. Izuku said as he waved his hand again to Mei and said, you will forget about Gi's ship and you'll leave it alone, Izuku said as he continued to walk and Mei obeying his order. Class. Izuku have arrived and saw the class isn't going well, Lita is still gesturing the class, Bakugo being AD-, Katsumi shouting at Kirishima, Shoto is minding his own business, Shota who is sleeping. The two entered the room. And they went back to their seat again. Suddenly the pink girl approaches them and said, Mina, wow you look so cool with the mask. Kirishima, yeah it's so manly bro. Izuku then ignored all of the good comments that is saying to him then he heard. / We're walking to the door like a normal person. The door opened revealing Green Magnet and All Might in the door. All students were shocked and surprised at the same time and they gave many comments about how flashy their costumes are. All Might, be quiet my student. Green Magnet, and you don't want to miss our class. All Might, she's right because today we will have a style training. All Might said and all of the class was shocked and they keep asking question to All Might. Lita, sir can we pick our own partner? Katsuki and Katsumi, can we kill someone? Uraraka, is there another expulsion? All Might, no, you will pick your team in this ballot box and no you can't kill anyone and there is no expulsion. So wear your costumes so we can start. Mina, did he just say? Kirishima, we can wear our costume? At planet Coruscant, Jedi Corp Evan and Grey Jedi Finalis have finished killing all the stormtroopers and half of them are knocked out and they got the sabers of the Jedi past. Finalis, I promise I will train your son old friend. Finalis said as he approached Even Hawk. All of the students are in the training ground except for Izuku and Tenko. Few students were curious why they were gone until they both arrived in their costume or should I say Jedi battle clothes. The two knights walked out and all of the students have stars in their eyes when they saw them. Izuku's Jedi suit again. Tenko new Jedi clothes. The two knights walked towards where All Might is explaining their task and they're going to do. All Might and Green Magnet took a box on who will be their partner in the training. Sadly Izuku was pairing with Izumi and they were up against Bakugo and Lita. Izumi and Izuku were considered as Team A while Bakugo and Lita they were Team C. In ground beta. Izumi and Izuku were at the ground beta and said, Izumi, okay what's the plan? Izuku, no need I already found the bomb. Izumi was shocked and asked where was the bomb and Izuku pointed at the 5th floor in the building as they were going to make a plan. All Might then said, All Might, heroes may now enter the building. At observation room. Everyone was expecting that something will happen flashy but Tenko interrupted them by saying, Tenko, this will be easy for him. Momo, how come? Tenko then pointed at Izuku who is still outside making all of the students confused. At Izuku. Izuku was outside leaving Izumi entering the building. The class was confused and said, Izumi, aren't you coming? Izuku shook his head and raised his hand facing it to the 5th building when suddenly an earthquake just started making all students in observation room very worried. They look at the monitor where Izuku is standing and saw the bomb breaks the wall in the building and started to approach Izuku. The bomb was now close to Izuku and he was about to touch it when he heard someone shouted. Recipro burst. Lita shouted as B was going to attack Izuku when suddenly Izumi appears and uses Texas Smash on Lita sensing him far away from them. Izuku almost laid his finger in the bomb when the angry Pomeranian came and shouted, Katsuki die. Bakugo said as he threw himself towards Izuku but Izuku uses force push on Bakugo sending him to the building making Izuku touches the bomb. All Might and Green Magnet. Hero team wins. Everyone was confused and couldn't process the situation in what happened until Momo raised her hand. Green Magnet. Yes Ms Yayarozu? Momo. I know how. Well you see Dralig have seen the bomb from the outside. It might be because Gi bomb can be seen in the window at the outside. Green Magnet. Very good Ms Yayaraz. Mineta, ma'am look. All of class and teacher look at the screen and saw Bakugo pointing his hand towards Izuku while holding the pin in his bomb. Katsuki, you see my quirk works by sweat and this gear buffs quirk control by 60 points and stamina by 15 points, increasing your damage output and agility. All Might was shocked including the others. All Might went to the microphone while Green Magnet goes to ground beta. All Might, young Bakugo you'll kill him. Bakugo, not if he dodges. Izuku, dodge huh? Then I should do it. Bakugo, good luck with that. Bakugo pulled the pin but before the explosion came out Izuku vanishes and appeared behind him and Izuku's saber pointed at his head. Izuku, this is a lightsaber is 25,000 degrees Celsius and it could chop your head in a second so I suggest you to not to move or else you die. Katsuki was shocked and Izuku raised his lightsaber and was about to kill Katsuki but he destroyed the gauntlets before leaving Griand Beta with a badass walk of Iron Man. After Class 1A are some doing battle training they all headed back to the class and Izuku is still wearing his mask including Tenko. Mina, why are they still wearing their mask? Kirishima, maybe to hide something. Toru, well I want to see what's hiding under that mask. Jairu, hey I know what you think you're doing and if you do that you will end up like Bakugo. Momi, Jairu is correct in our class Anakin and Dralig are strong. Katsuki, not as strong as me. Hey you mask face I want a rematch. Dralig, no. Katsuki, so you're a chicken how weak am I right Izumi? Izumi, don't talk to me I wish Dralig cuts your head in the battle training. Siro, why is Izumi mad at Bakugo? Did he do something? Shoto, please let's not talk about it. Kirishima, well Bakugo I'm here and I can support you no matter what. Bakugo, if NG do whatever you shirty hair. After the conversation and the class have arrived in their room and once they entered Aizawa gave them just a normal class session. After class, everyone is heading home except for Bakugo. He was so pissed the Izuku humiliates him in front of Izumi. Bakugo saw Dralig going out and he charged towards Dralig only to be stopped by Aizawa. Bakugo, let me go. That guy need to pay he make me humiliated in front Izumi. Aizawa, you can't use your quirk on public or else you'll be arrested and might get expelled in UA. Bakugo, don't tell me what to do dash. Bakugo was cut off by Izumi slapping Bakugo in the face which make shocked the whole class. Shoto then came and stopped Izumi from slapping Bakugo. Izumi, you dare to try to impress me after what you did to my brother? Katsuki, that damn nerd need to learn his place. Izumi, and you need to learn your place, you're a villain a hypocrite. You're a monster. Izumi said as she kept crying and crying leaving the class confused. Lita came in to stop the commotion until Aizawa ordered him to not interrupt. Mina, wow so Bakugo really is a beach. Jairu, wait Izumi has a brother? Izuku, Yed and his name is Izuku Yagi. Lita, how did you know? Izuku, I have a vision quirk okay so let me explain everything. Izuku Yagi and Izumi Yagi were siblings they both have friends but when they reach age of 4 Izuku was bullied and it was Bakugo's idea of why he did it. Kirishima, hey would Bakugo that? Izuku, because Bakugo is jealous, he wanted Izumi all by herself and he first removed Izuku by bullying him. Izumi did bully Izuku because she wanted to protect him from being a hero. Momo, what's so bad being a hero? Izuku, Izumi found a report that 5 heroes died because of the hero killer so she went worried and then she asked her friends how to stay Izuku away from being a hero and the person who got the idea was Bakugo. After that Izuku has suffer in 10 years them he tan away. Everyone, whoa. Tenko, Dralig let's go home. Izuku nodded and they both leave and Bakugo saw it and it makes him pissed and use an explosion to toss minded towards Izuku but was stopped by All Might. Izuku then smirked before leaving UA. Next day, Izuku is in class fixing his lightsaber making everyone caught its attention. Izuku, why are you watching me? Mineta, what is that thing? Izuku, this is the lightsaber it's my support gear. Momo, can I create it? Izuku, haha no. Momo, sorry but you can't stop me. Momo said as she tried to create the saber but it didn't pop out. Momo, why didn't it work? Izuku, lightsaber is made in hands not in quirk. Izuku said as he ignites his saber in front of them skinged all shock. Mina, can I touch it? Izuku deignites his saber and said. Izuku, no, this saber is 25,000 degrees Celsius meaning if you touch it you'll die. Mina, whoa. Izuku, yes indeed whoa but if you want to have a lightsaber you need to be trained by us. Izuku was cut off by Aizawa entering the room while holding a box. Aizawa, today we're going to have another special event. Everyone thought except Get Jedi, oh no is it another training or exam? Aizawa, We're going to vote who's class representative. Everyone sighed in relief and then everyone began to shout, vote for me. Izuku and Tenko. Tenko just ignored Phi class and wear his shades and pretended to listening to Aizawa and look at Rumi. Tenko thought, cute. Tenko just stared at Rumi until he was smacked by Izuku in the head and said, Izuku, that's not the Jedi way. Tenko, you could at least tell me than smacking my head. Izuku, you need to learn your lesson. Few minutes later. Samar, 11. Uraraka, 8. Lita then looked down in disappointment then Izuku wasn't supposed at all. Izuku, I hate being class representative. Sensei, can I give Lita my position? Aizawa, suit yourself. Lita then stands up from his chair and said, Lita, Dralig, are you sure you want me to be the class representative? Izuku, yes. Lita then makes a soldier stand and then put left hand in his right chest and raised his left arm and said, Lita, I promise that I will do my best to be a fine class representative. Everyone then began to cheer to Lita and Izuku just like whatever and Tenko is staring at Rumi for like a minute. Lunch break. Izuku and Tenko are sitting besides with Rumi, Momo and Shinso. Momo, so Dralig, what is the thing you said before, training? Izuku, yes, if you need a lightsaber then you must train. Momo, but I train day by day, why can't I have the saber? Izuku, because the saber can be found from another planet. This makes Rumi and Momo laugh but the three Jedi went silent and moved their table to another table. Momo, wait, they aren't serious, right? Rumi, I don't know but they sure seem serious. Rumi was cut off by UA alarm system. Soon all students began panicking and headed to their rooms. Sadly, due to panicking, all students were stuck except for Izuku. Izuku and Tenko saw a blue-haired girl outside the gate and the two then jump of the window, broke it and headed to the blues-hair girl. This makes Aizawa caught the attention of the two students chasing the blues-hair girl. Blue hair, shit. Kurojairi. Behind the blue-haired girl were a black mist and it suddenly took the blue-haired girl disappearing from their sight. Izuku and Tenko slashed their saber to the mist guy but when it vanishes the only thing that they slash was the air and nothing. Izuku, she escaped. Aizawa. Dralig, Anakin, what happened? Izuku then walked towards Aizawa who is being swarmed by the media. Izuku waved his hand to Gi media and said, leave and go back to your houses. The media then responded by leaving UA and Izuku went towards Aizawa and said, Izuku, a woman with some kind of disintegrating quirk and just destroyed the gate. Aizawa, a villain? Izuku, Ed, and I think it's unto All Might. Izuku, you see there is no villain attacking UA ever since All Might didn't came and now All Might is here. I think it's unto All Might now. Mike, the kid's right, I'll go tell Nizu. Aizawa, you two are suspended for using support gear, now go home. The two knights nodded and they headed back to their ship and leave. In somewhere. Is the Nomu ready? Yes, Ms. Shigaraki. Tamura, I know you saw your brother? Shigaraki, yes, master, and he's with someone. Oh, so it's true then, huh? Revan's son is here. Izuku is now inside the ship trying to find his old lightsaber when he found an old disc player. Izuku, WF is this? Izuku then took the disc and started to look around when he found a BB unit. Izuku, a BB unit. Tenko. Few minutes. Tenko is now fixing the BB unit and then it turned on and it approaches Izuku and starting to hit Izuku's leg, which made Izuku confused until he looked at the disc. Izuku then inserted the disc in the BB units and then a hologram of Revan appear. Revan. My name is Revan, or you should say Darth Revan, but if that name was long gone, but I'm Revan now. Siphonelis, Corp, Dralig, Master Yoda, Inko and Izuku, if you found this, I'm saying that it's been an honor to be with you, not as a friend but as a family. I thought that being Darth Revan will fix everything. I left my wife including my son. Izuku was shocked when his name was Sayus in the hologram, so he continues the hologram and it says, Revan, my son Izuku Midoriya. Now this made Izuku and Tenko shocked and then Revan started to continue. Revan, I was Darth Revan because I want to save my wife and my son. I left Earth to join the Empire, which is my big mistake. A few days have lasted and I decided to return back to Earth not as Revan but Darth Revan. I went home and I expected that everything will be okay but not. I saw my wife with Anita man, he's buff string and good man, unlike me leaving my wife forever. Now that I'm Revan again tomorrow I will be going to fight the Empire with other Jedi survivor. If I survive and I will be there with you Izuku, but if I die I'm always there for you Izuku. Izuku, may the force be with you. The hologram stopped and Izuku started to leak out some tears. Then the BB unit then took out a saber including Revan's Jedi clothes. Izuku then took the clothes and started to cry over while holding the clothes when suddenly he felt a dark force coming from you. Izuku, Tenko, this job is mine to do. Tenko, may the force be with you brother. Izuku then took the clothes including the lightsaber, then he ignites it and said, Izuku, time to use the power of the dark side. To be continue. Reminder, since Izuku can use both side he will use Gi power of the dark side in this chapter, so wait for the next chapter that will be released at 10. Shota Izuku Eraserhead is currently injured due to inevitable power. The Nomu have two quirks, those are shocked absorption, super regeneration. The Nomu is currently fighting All Might and Green Magnet. Green Magnet is useless in the fight but she helped her husband by giving All Might and armor. In a distance the blue-haired girl is in a distance with two villains, and those were the most villain Kurogyri and the seventh sister. Seventh sister, listen Shigaraki, I have orders from genre Palpatine and I am not waiting here for nothing. Shigaraki, don't worry, he will be here. Seventh sister, you better be or I'll crush your feminine look and this mist freak. Kurogyri, the name's Kurogyri. Seventh sister, I don't care. We have a deal and if you didn't agree with the deal and I will cut your head. Shigaraki, tch talk about an alien girl. Shigaraki said under her breath and she watches the fight and saw All Might releasing a steam in his body. Shigaraki thought, why is he steaming? Shigaraki, Nomu, I want you to hit his waist. Shigaraki said as the Nomu obeyed and then punched All Might's waist making a light spat some blood. Shigaraki smiled and said to the Nomu to keep doing everything over and over. All of Class 1A was shocked including Izumi, who is clearly with two students Tsuyu, Mineta, and Tsuyu. Izumi saw her father being beaten up and decided to help her father. Tsuyu, Yagi, what about Aizawa-sensei? Izumi, take him to 13, I'll be fighting this one. Izumi said as she jumped up and punched the Nomu, only nothing to happen. The Nomu looked at Izumi and punched her, sending her towards the sea. GM, Izumi. All Might, you'll pay for that. All Might said as he used Detroit smashed, but then All Might weak spot was stabbed by the seventh sister, which shocked Green Magnet and Class 1A. All Might then puked some blood and he deep heavy from the pain. Green Magnet tries to attack the seventh sister by taking her lightsaber only to be restrained by the Nomu on the ground. Green Magnet looked at All Might and she tried her best to get out but she can't, all she can do is watch All Might. She saw Izumi being charged by Shigaraki and All Might in the ground and the seventh sister raising her lightsaber above and was about to stab All Might in the head then. Bang! The class, Green Magnet and villains look at the door and saw smoke all around, but when the smoke cleared out they saw a guy holding a two lightsaber, one red and one violet. Inko, Revan? The Jedi then walked inside and the class prepared their battle stance until he responded. All of you go out, I'll take care of everything. Uraraka, and who are you to tell us that? It's me, Samire. The class sighed in relief and Izuku jumped down by using force levitate and force push the seventh sister, sending her to the wall. Then he saw Shigaraki almost touch Izumi, but Izuku uses force push on Shigaraki, sending her to the flood zone. Izuku saw the Nomu charging towards him and Izuku took an advantage to kill it by cutting its head off in a second, making all the class shock. Izuku, seventh sister, come out. Even if you try to fight me you're still no match to the power of the dark side. Class 1A thought, dark side? Behind Izuku is the seventh sister making a surprise attack and almost killed Izuku only to destroy his mask, revealing himself. All Class 1A was shocked including his tormentor who just arrived. Shota and Shoto, Izuku? Katsumi, Iken? Back to Izuku. Izuku, my mask is broken anyways, I'm still going to beat you. Seventh sister, better luck with that. The seventh sister said as she fly above Izuku and jumped down behind him and tried to slash Izuku's head only for her lightsaber to stop. The seventh sister was confused until her stomach was stabbed by Izuku without anyone noticing it. The seventh sister fell on the ground only for Katsuki to strike Izuku. Bakugo, damn nerd, how can you be stronger than me? Bakugo said as he released an explosion on Izuku, but only to Izuku to use force push on Bakugo's explosion, sending it back to him. Bakugo then throw himself at Izuku only to be levitate and throw to Katsumi. Katsumi, get the F away from me. Katsuki, Izuku then approaches Inko. Inko then hugged Izuku for a minute and said, Inko, I'm sorry sweetie, I am sorry F for neglecting wife. In a distance Izumi and the tormentors were happy and Izuku broke free from the hugged and punch green magnet in the face. All of class was shocked. Kirishima them help Inko by stopping Izuki from punching green magnet, and then Izuku said, Izuku, is it true? Inko was confused and Izuku replied again and said, Izuku, is Revan my father? Inko didn't reply to Izuku, which made Izuku mad. Izuku, is he my father? Inko, why yes. Izuku, you bastard. You didn't tell me. Why? Kirishima, Drillig bro stop. Kaminari then came in with Tokoyami and helped Kirishima from stopping the angry Izuku. At Shigaraki was in flood zone and she was unconscious for a minute, and then Kurogiri came by and warped her out the flood zone and reported back to their base. At Izuku then broke free, but this time he didn't punch Inko and he left USJ. Izuku was about to leave when Katsumi, Shota hugged Izuku's foot and said, Shota, Izuku please don't leave us. Katsumi, please Iken, we're sorry. Izuku, let go. Katsumi and Shota? Izuku, let go Bakugo and Todoroki or else I will chop your head. They didn't respond and Izuku waved his hand and ordered them to let go and they obeyed. Izuku is now at the gate and Uraraka saw her and ran for it, but only to be punched by Izuku in the face. Mina, hey, what was that for? Sato, Uraraka, are you okay? Izuku just ignore the situation and leave USJ like nothing happened. After the fight in USJ, All Might and Green Magnet are being escorted to the hospital. As for Class 1A, they were worried about Izuku, including Kirishima. The other class glared at Izumi and the previous tormentors. This makes Bakugo pissed and leave. Bakugo, damn nerd, he thinks he have the guys to talk back? I'll show him who's number one and I'm doing everything just to put him into his place. Bakugo said as he walked away from USJ, ignoring Son Nurse, who is forcing him to go inside the ambulance. All class was worried until they saw something above the USJ. They saw Izuku wearing his father's clothes, but they can't see his face due to the shadowy look, and then a strong wind appeared and started to make the class close their eyes, but once the wind stopped, Izuku is gone. Izumi, this is all my fault. Shota, it's not you Izumi, it's Bakugo. Shoto, yeah, remember it was him who started everything. Katsumi, when I go home I will make my parents kicked him out of Katsumi was cut off by Nizu, who was approaching them. Nizu, so Sumayer Dralig isn't Dralig at all, and I believe this one has something to do about you. Izumi, we know Uncle Nizu. Nizu, Izumi don't call me uncle, for you it's Principal Nizu, only Izuku can call me uncle and not you. I will have a word with you after me and All Might talk. Izumi nodded and Nizu who approaches All Might and have a few conversation about Izuku and some stuff. Time skip later. Class 1A were ordered to head back to UA to make sure that villains won't kidnap them. All Might, Nizu and the other staff are in a meeting and they were talking about the villain who infiltrate USJ. Detective Tsukwachi Naomesa is giving all the details about the villains that they have captured. Naomesa, well, it looks like that the villains that infiltrate USJ is Tamura Shigaraki and Kurogiri. Shigaraki has a quirk called Decay. It allows him to disintegrate anything that he touches, and his drawback allows his skin to turn pale. Next is Kurogiri. He has the ability to create a warp gate that can help him transport someone, including him, to another place, and his drawback turn him into a black humanoid smoke. Nizu, so that's who they are, but where's Izuku? Naomesa, still no info on where he is, but I conduct SIM info from All Might and he said that he's quirkless. This last comment shocked everyone except All Might and Green Magnet. Midnight, but we just saw him destroyed a zero-pointer, how can that explain? All Might, I don't know? Aizawa, you mean? Inko, we never know anything about him in the past 10 years, but I do know who his father is. Inky said as she took a photo of Revan betraying the Empire. Midnight, oh, he's effing handsome. Nizu, who is he? Inko, his name is Revan and he was my first husband before I meet. Toshi, Aizawa, then what happened to him? Inko, I don't know, the first thing I remember is we make out and then he left and then nothing. Midnight, so you cheated on him? Inko, no I did not. Why yes she did. Nizu, Izuku. They saw Izuku in the door wearing his father's clothes while panting really hard. Izuku was about to collapse but Vlad helped him and escorted him to the infirmary room. Few hours later, Izuku woke up and saw Tenko, like, Dralig, Luke and Grogu. Izuku, oh what happened? Luke, you used the dark side and now you're in the Jedi light again. Izuku, how? Dralig, because of your father. Izuku, oh yeah I remember Revan is my father. Izuku said as he clenched his fist but was stopped when Dralig said, Dralig, Izuku stop you're letting yourself consume by the dark side. Izuku, sorry, but you know my father tight? Dralig nodded and Izuku just sighed. Dralig was expecting Izuku will ask about his father's life but he goes that Izuku is not prepared to know the full life of his father. The door then opened revealing all Mutt and Green Magnet. Izuku look at his mother for a second until he look away. Izuku, leave. Inko, Izuku honey please. Izuku, I said leave. Luke, ma'am I think you must give Izuku sign space. Inko, but I need to. Luke, ma'am I'll tell you everything. Inko nodded and the three heads outside and Luke explained what are the consequences of joining the lightsaber and the dark side. The Inko understand and she leave except for All Might. All Might, I need to talk to my son so move. Inko, Toshi he's not your son, he's not your bloodline and never will be. All Might sigh and they both left Yue. Back to Izuku. Izuku is now in his room watching Grogu eating a blue biscuit. Izuku just stared at Grogu and lay his head in the pillow but was stopped by Grogu using force levitate on the biscuit and giving it to Izuku by floating it in front of him. Izuku takes the cookie and said, Izuku, Grogu. Grogu responded by looking at him in confusion making a look of a kid who is crying. Izuku chuckled and ate the biscuit and looked at the ceiling for a second and said, Izuku thought, why do I feel something bad is happening? Somewhere. In a galaxy in solar system, a spaceship of the Empire named Star Destroyer. Then inside was full army of stormtroopers and the Grand Inquisitor with his fellow Inquisitor League. Next day. Izuku is now in Class 1A talking with Tenko about using the dark side and all of its consequences. Tenko, Izuku if you use the dark side again then soon the dark side will take over your light side, you need to make the force more balanced than it is. Izuku, yeah I know but, back in USJ I meet someone she looks like you Tenko but more creepier. Tenko, wait you fought my sister? Izuku, I guess? Tenko, so that's where that Mither dear been all the time, she's been working with the villainism. Izuku and Tenko's conversation was interrupted by Izumi. Izumi, Izuku can I have a talk with you? Tenko, hey Izumi back off, Izuku has been in a lot of pain and I don't want you to get into it. Izumi, but he's my brother? Tenko, please be doesn't want to talk with you. Katsuki, hey Izumi want to talk to nerd so be it. Tenko, I'm not talking to you. Katsuki, oh so you want to go? Tenko, try it or you'll be arrested. Katsuki, teach. Bakugo head back to his seat like nothing happened. Tenko, Izumi please leave. Izumi, okay. Izumi then head back to her seat near with Shoto and Katsumi. Kat was furious and step up and head toward Izuku and drag him towards Izumi. Izuku, what are you doing? Katsumi, you're going to fix your relationship with Izumi whether you like or not. Izuku ignites his lightsaber and out it near Katsumi's neck scaring everyone including Katsumi. Izuku, let go of me, you lost your trust in me after you started to give me those scars. Shota, we did it to protect you from being a hero so you won't killed by a villain. Izuku, but in the school, I was the hero and you were the villain. Shoto, watch your mouth Izuku or else. Izuku, or else what you'll hurt me? Now that we're here in Yue you're still acting like that, little Endeavor. Shoto, what? Izuku, you're the complete copy of Endeavor, he wants to get all the attention, he wants to get the attention, he wants to surpass All Might, you want go surpass All Might and most of all he beats you up and you beat me up. Tenko, Izuku stop. Pomeranian girl let him go or I'll call Aizawa. Katsumi looked down and let go of Izuku. Most of Class 1A are starting to talk about Shoto being the exact copy of Endeavor. He was pissed and leave the room. Izumi, Izuku just what do you think you're doing? Izuku, putting him in his place. Izumi, I don't care, go and apologize to him. Izuku, you're not my sister Izumi. After Izuku said that, it shattered Izumi's heart, and then Aizawa entered the room holding Shoto, who is tied up by Aizawa's scarf. All of class was shocked. To Aizawa is here. All class 1A except Izuku and Tenko was shocked. Rumi, looks like our sensei can't leave us alone. Aizawa, shut up brats, I have an announcement. In the next 2 weeks we will be having the sport festival event. All of class started cheer and happiness except Izuku and Tenko, who is calmed down. Aizawa, shut up and sit down. The class obeyed and they sit down and let Aizawa explain everything. After class, Izuku and Tenko are now heading outside when they saw Izumi, All Might and Inko waiting for them. Tenko, should we go a different direction? Izuku, definitely. Izuku and Tenko were about to head in a different direction in the hallway but was stopped by All Might. Izuku, you're coming with us. Tenko ignites his saber and threatens All Might. Tenko, let go of my brother or you won't have a symbol. Izuku, let go of me. No. You're coming with us and we'll make up with you. Izuku, let go. You're not even my father, you're just a guy who stole my mother from him. Watch your mouth, boy. All Might was restrained by Vlad King and Snipe, and then Nizu arrive. Nizu, All Might, I order you to leave Mr. Dralik. But he's my son. Nizu, we have a DNA test to prove who's Izuku's father, and it says here that you are not his bloodline, meaning that Izuku won't take orders from you. All Might looked down and Izuku and Tenko just leave. Before they could leave, Inko stopped him and said, Inko, please Izuku, give us another chance to make it up to you? Izuku, make it up? You didn't even tell me who's my father is. You didn't tell me that you cheated on him. If Dad is alive, I'm sure that he will be disappointed to you. You're not my mother, you're just a slut. Inko is not fat in this story, BW. Izuku said as he leave Inko, who is crying on the ground, and Izumi comforting her. Snipe, that's a real telenovela shit. Vlad, shut up. The next day, Izuku is now texting Shinso and said that he'll have to go to beach and practice with him. Few hours later, Izuku and Shinso are now at the beach holding their lightsaber and wearing their Jedi training clothes. Izuku, alright Shinso, I will have to train you how to use your lightsaber since sport festival is in 2 weeks, we'll be training in a whole week. Shinso, wait, so I need to tell my parents? Izuku, it will be fine, it's not like you're gonna die or anything. Shinso, how did you know that sport festival is coming? Izuku, I heard from the meeting room. So, let's start. Izuku ignites his blue lightsaber and started to do some trick. After video. Izuku, indeed, woe is an amazing word. Now your training is not done because it's about to you now. Day 1. Shinso's first training is to fight Tiger Shark in the water, but Shinso won't die because Izuku is there watching. Shinso did a 100 push-up as sit-ups, then he have to stop a jet from flying. Day 3. Shinso learned how to use Force Lightning. Day 46. Shinso learned how to use his lightsaber and learned some many tactics. Day 7. Shinso can now use force manipulation in every elements, water, earth, fire, air, and ice. He can use force manipulation as a weapon against his enemy. He can also use it as a shield. Day 8 to 12. Shinso learned how to make lightsaber in his own and studied different tactics of Jedi arts and Sith art. Shinso, now I'm ready. Izuku, I know you do. Now let's the games begin. Now is the day where students in UA are going to sport festival. Every students were prepared and nervous, but there is 3 students who aren't nervous, and those are Izuku, Tenko, and Shinso. Izuku, what a day. Izuku said as he looked at Izumi gang and saw them talking in their table with Kirishima and Mina. Izuku then went outside to buy some takoyaki because he is starving. But once he go out, he saw many people outside buying some foods, and Izuku headed to find a takoyaki restaurant, but once he found the restaurant he saw Kamui Woods, Death Arm, and MT Lady. Izuku then head towards their direction because they too at the restaurant. Once Izuku approached the restaurant, he took his wallet and ordered a takoyaki. Izuku, 1 takoyaki please. Man, coming right up. The man said as he take a takoyaki and he handed over Izuku. Izuku paid 50 yen, and when he was about to eat he saw MT Lady. MT Lady, please can I have that takoyaki? Izuku. Izuku said as he leave MT Lady frozen. Kamui Woods and Death Arms couldn't handle the laughter and my lady is still frozen until Izuku walked back again. Izuku, you want takoyaki right? Me lady nodded and waited for response until Izuku take out a takoyaki and ate it. The trio was frozen until Izuku leaned towards MT lady and kissed her. Izuku then left a lady eating the takoyaki that he gave. She blushed very hard. As for the two, they were frozen. Izuku is now sitting with Tenko and they both fixing their lightsaber until Izumi walked in. Izumi, Oni-chan. Izuku, don't call me that. Izumi, okay, Drally, can I talk with you? Izuku, sigh fine. Izuku and Izumi then walked out the room where the Class 1A are warming up, and once they were outside Izumi started to apologize to Izuku. Izuku, please give us a chance. Please give us some time to make it up to you, please. Izuku was silent and saw how Izumi wanted for apology, and Izuku sighed and said, Izuku, okay, I'll give you a chance but only you. Izumi was happy and she hugged Izuku, then hugged back to her, and they both broke the hug and walked back. Izuku thought, wow, I can't believe I give her a chance to apologize, but it will take more than that to make me forgive them. After this I'll ask MT lady out. Time skip later. Izuku and Tenko are training and they both do some spat while wearing a blindfold. All Class 1A was impressed to see how their tactics is good when Shoto came and stopped them, but before Shoto stopped, Tenko and Izuku almost landed a fist towards Shoto's face, and this makes all the class shocked and scared. Izuku, I know you're there. Todoroki, what do you want? Todoroki, just want to say, I'm winning this. Kirishima saw these and walked up to Todoroki and placed his hand in his shoulder. Kirishima, hey, let's take this easy, Shoto. Izuku, shut up Kirishima, this is UA, we are not here to make friends, we are here to train to become a hero and not be friends. Kirishima wasn't expecting this answer and Tenko agreed with Izuku. Tenko, Izuku is right, we're only here to train and not play. Katsuki, Katsumi and Shota heard this and they were pissed. They then stand up from their chair and they both declare a war to Izuku and Tenko. Present Mike and Aizawa is commentating the sport festival and Present Mike was beyond happy on this one. Present Mike, hello citizen and heroes, today is the day that we will celebrate the sport festival event. Present Mike said, making all heroes and citizen let out a roar of cheer. Present Mike, today we have Class 1A. Present Mike said as Class 1A walked out and all heroes and citizens started to clap and cheer. Present Mike then next called Class 1B and the other classes. All of the audience were cheering for the other class and some are not. Present Mike, today we have our favorite R-rated hero, Midnight. Present Mike said as Midnight walked in the stage, giving all boys some nosebleed except for Izuku. Kirishima, does she really need to wear that? Mineta, shut up, I like this one. Izuku, pathetic teacher. Midnight, hello UA. Today before we start the event we would like to hear Izuku Dralig's speech for today. All students look at Izuku and Izuku walked from the stage. Many people felt the Grey Jedi's aura and they were frightened. Izuku, I just want to say good luck for the other students, do your best, keep up the good work, and at the end of that you will achieve what you want if you work real hard to get it, and also if I lose or win I will ask MT Lady out of a date. Everyone In any seconds MT Lady uses her quirk and looked down and saw Izuku and said, Lady, sure. Everyone was jealous and Midnight was confused on why Izuku picked her instead of her. Izuku, that's all I wanted to say, thank you. Midnight, okay, now that that's over we have this spin roulette and this will decide what event will our students face. Midnight said as she spin the roulette and then it shows obstacle race. Midnight then started to explain the rules at the obstacle race. Many people are cheering at them and they all want to see what their quirks are. Midnight then explained where they will start and end and all students march to the starting line breathing hard of nervousness. Midnight, ready, 3, 2, 1, go. Midnight shouted, making all students run faster and started to push each other. Izuku, Shinso, and Tenko are left because they were meditating. Hero 1, what are they doing? Hero 2, they know they're going to lose this, right? All Might thought, Izuku, please run. After a few seconds the trio's eye started to glow. Izuku's eye is red, Tenko's eye blue and Shinso's eyes are purple. The trio closed their eyes and opened it and started to run, and this time they were fast. The trip ignites their lightsaber and they drag it in the ground, melting the ice that Shoto created. And once they were out they shouted at each other, "May the force be with you," the trio shouted, confusing the heroes and the citizen. Izuku is now running until he saw Shoto fighting a zero-pointer. Izuku took out his other lightsaber and smirk. He then used force levitate and started to spin himself toward their two-pointer. Hero 3. This kid is good. Hero 4. I want him to be my intern. Heroes then began to argue at each other but was stopped by Present Mike shouting, "Back to the race." It's now Tenko's turn, and as he ran to the zero-pointer he used force push, sending the zero-pointer to the pit at the second obstacle. Many heroes cheered for how good our Izuku and Tenko is, but when they saw Shinso they think something good is gonna happen, but there is. Shinso uses force lightning and destroyed 14 zero-pointer. This time many people erupted a roar and began to shout on who will take the kids on their intern. The Izumi gang have arrived at the second obstacle course. Present Mike. Izumi gang has arrived at the second course. The Izumi gang were thinking on how they will get to pass the second course when Shoto gave the first move by turning the rope into ice. Shoto saw this and quickly followed what Shoto did. The Bakugo twins quickly fly above and landed down and have finished the second obstacle. Izumi is currently doing her best to get to finish the second course, but she was carrying a part of zero-pointer on the way to the end. The trio Jedi have arrived at the second course and saw all students thinking how to get to finish the second obstacle. The trio didn't hesitate and run to the ropes like they were insane. Most of the students and Gross saw this and their jaw drop after seeing this. The trio finally arrived at the third obstacle and it was a minefield. The trio saw the Bakugo and Todoroki twins are fighting each other while running, and Izuku saw Izumi taking all mines together. Izuku, what is she doing? The trio then ignites both of their sabers and smirk at each other before running towards the field. All the students saw his they were doing, and some of them are mad and some of them try it. Monoma, Class 1, don't you dare look down at us. Monoma screamed as he charged towards Shinso, only for Hick to step a mine and he flew away. The trio saw this and they ignore it and they continue to run towards until they already passed Bakugo and Todoroki twins. The twins were widen eyes as they saw trio pass them and they were dumbfounded. Izuku, fighting won't win, try your best, a-holes. Izuku said as Bakugo creates a spark in his hand before flying himself towards the trio. Katsuki, Deku, you dare to look down at me, you will never be loved by your mother. Bakugo said as all the audience were shocked to hear it until they saw Izuku smirk. Izuku, little Katsuki, a pathetic wimp, you're a disgrace from your family. Izumi would never love you, neither Shota and neither all woman. Deep down, even though I was quirkless, you are jealous. Jealous because Izumi loved me and never put her attention to you. Katsuki was shocked to hear this and he was completely frozen from Izuku's comment until a huge explosion was heard from a distance. Izuku and Tenko saw it, and it was Izumi who was riding a zero-pointer scrap and she was flying very high. The trio and the twins smirk and they use all of their power to reach Izumi until Izumi has finally get to go first place. The trio run to the finish line and Izuku was second, Tenko and Shinso was third, Shoto was fourth, Shoto was fifth, Katsumi is sixth and Katsuki is seventh. Izumi, yes. I finally get to first place. After the obstacle course is done, many students have arrived and some of them are eliminated and some of them are not. Midnight then announced the next event, and as she spin the roulette it shows cavalry battle. Midnight started to explain everything and said, Midnight, now we are now at the cavalry battle where you all need you find a team in 15 minutes and also the first place will get 1,000,000 points and you all need to get these headbands to the other competitors, but 1,000,000 points will turn you into first place, so if you get as many points as you want then you can go to the next event called 1v1 battle. After saying that, many people glared at Izumi except for Izuku, who was feeling something weird in his body and saw a bunch of stone in his hand. Izuku, what is this? Izuku was cut off by Midnight shouting. Midnight, all students have 15 minutes to find their teams, so let's go. After Midnight said that many students came to the Jedi trio and to Izumi gang except for Izumi. Student 1, please pick me. Mina, Izuku, we're classmate right, we should team. Kirishima, yo ani bro, wanna team up? Student 4, Shinso, we're classmates right, we should team? Trio, Izuku and Shinso walks towards Midnight and said that they would like to be solo. Midnight was confused at this and look at Nizu, who nodded. Midnight, everyone, I have an announcement. Izuku Dralig and Hitosha Shinso are going to be solo. The crowd gasped, including the staff and All Might. 15 minutes later. Izuku, solo. Tenko, Rumi, Kendo, Tetsu, Setsuna. Shinso, solo. Izumi, Mei, Tokoyami, Uraraka. Katsuki Mina, Siro Kirishima. Katsumi, Shota, Shoji Minetsuyu. Shota, Lita, Momo, Kaminari. Midnight, now finding team is over, let's start the cavalry battle. Midnight said as many students came charging towards Izumi. Izumi was about to escape when the other competitors were already defeated and Izumi saw Izuku holding 6 headbands Willu standing at the unconscious student. Izuku, easy. Shinso is now fighting Shoto, who is using his ice to cover block Shinso from taking the headband, but Shoto was outsmarted by Shinso and Shinso is using his lightsaber to melt the ice shield. Momo was trying to create a lightsaber but it didn't work because there is something missing she still doesn't know. Tenko is now pushing every competitor by using force push and Tenko was touching Rumi's ear. Rumi can feel it and she blushed really hard on this one. Rumi thought, Skywalker really likes my ears, he looks so cute when he smiled. Wait, what am I thinking? Snap out of it, Rumi, snap pit of it. At Izumi. Izumi is now being chased by Bakugo and Katsumi. Izumi, guys, I thought we were friends except for you, Bakugo. Izumi said as Katsumi and Shota smirked and charged towards Izumi when suddenly Izumi smirk and then her whole team suddenly fly above. Izuku saw this and use force pull on Izumi. Izuku, the 1M point is mine. While Izuku is doing that, his headbands was suddenly snatched by a blonde-haired dude named Nito Monoma. Monoma, thanks for the headband. Izuku, thanks for the rest of your headband. Izuku said as Nito looked at his headbands and they were gone, and when he looked at the headband that he snatched and saw it was a fake headband. Izuku chuckled from what happened and looked back at Izumi. Flashback. Izuku walked towards Momo and asked her to make a red headband. She nodded and gave Izuku the headband. Momo, what do you need the headband for, Izuku? Izuku waved his hand in her face and said, Izuku, you will forget what you did. Izuku said, causing Momo to look around confused and saw Izuku. Momo, hey Izuku, do you need something? Izuku, no. Flashback over. Izuku is now pulling Izumi towards him and this made her tram gave fear except for Mei when she used a gun and shoot Izuku, but luckily for Shinso. Shinso jumped into action and swished his saber to the bullet and made a flip on the ground before looking at Mei. Izuku, what the heck? Are you trying to kill me? Mei, nope, that is actually a rubber bullet. Izuku said as he tried to pull Izumi's tram again and suddenly 2 waves of ice approaches Izuku in the left and the right. Izuku then made a high back flip and completely dodges the attack. Izuku then saw Shoto and Shota on the left and right. Izuku smirked before his body started to release an electricity. Izuku, what the heck? Izuku said as a spike from the ground came out and almost hit Izuku. All the audience gasped and was confused. Izuku, what? Is this my quirk? No, it can't be. If I had a quirk it should be telekinesis, but this is more different. The alarm sound went on and that means that cavalry battle is over. Izuku, sigh, now it's over, but what is this spike? It's far more different than Shoto's ice. Is this Earth manipulation quirk? At the top of the sport festival. Luke, Ahsoka, Bo-Katan, Dralig and Grogu are watching except for Grogu who is playing with his ball. Dralig saw the who spike thing and he remembered something but he cannot because he is too old. Back to Izuku. Present mic announce who have the highest points and it turns out that Izumi is still at the top. First Izumi. Second Izuku. Third Shinso. Fourth Shoto. Fifth Tenko. Sixth Bakugo. Bakugo, why am I at 6th? Izuku is now in the bathroom looking at his reflection at the mirror and saw his face. He looked down and saw his hands sparkling. Izuku, damn it, what is this? Izuku said as he looked again and saw the electricity is morphing and turning into a weird stone. Izuku walked outside the sport festival and saw MT lady being gestured by Kamui Woods. Izuku sighed and he tried to use it again and he placed his hand in the ground when it created a spike. Izuku, W.O.? Izuku said as he looked at the spokesman, it resembles as an hardening spike. Izuku was shocked but he realized that he just activate his quirk. Izuku, no it can't be, I'm quirkless, but why did my quirk activated? Could it be that I'm a late bloomer? Izuku said as he walked back and saw Tenko waiting for him. Tenko, dude, what happened? Izuku, I think I'm a late bloomer. Tenko, what do you mean? Izuku, I just activate my quirk just now and the spike that almost killed me was my responsibility but I didn't know. Tenko, wait, you activate your quirk accidentally? Izuku, yes? Tenko, what are you going to name your quirk? Izuku, I don't know but I'm thinking of something. Izuku said as he heard someone watching an Attack on Titan season finale EP 6, and Izuku then had an idea what quirk he will name to his. Izuku, Warhammer. Izuku, Tenko, and Shinso are moving from the next event of Sportfest and it's called 1v1 battle, where each people that win in cavalry battle have to fight each other. Midnight then shows a board which shows all students that will fought. Izuku vs Setsuna. Izumi vs Shoda. Shinso vs Kendo. Kirishima vs Tetsu. Tokoyami vs Momo. Tenko vs Katsumi. Bakugo vs Uraraka. Shoji vs Mineta. Rumi vs Suyu. Mei vs Lida. Shoto vs Siro. Kaminari vs Mina. Midnight. Okay, for the first battle we have a student from class 1A, Izuku Dralik. Midnight said as Izuku walks out and he heard many cheers from audience and Izuku ignites it and keep walking. Midnight, and a student from class 1B Setsuna Tokich. Midnight said as Setsuna walks out and waves at the audience and then a student from class 1B Nito Minoma is now shouting. Minoma, Setsuna. Best that class 1A ass and win this. Minoma said as Kendo smacked Minoma making him unconscious. Back to Midnight. Midnight, ready? The two nodded and Midnight raised her flag and swished it down making Setsuna charge toward Izuku OLY for Izuku to sidestep her. Izuku, nice try but you can do more better than that. Izuku said as Sentasen keeps sending attacks towards Izuku and Izuku just dodge it. Minoma and Class 1B are watching and in awe state. All Class 1A are now watching and couldn't believe that he could do all of those stunts. Every Class 1A were surprised except for Tenko, Izumi, Momo Tokoyami Shinso, Ketsuki, Katsumi and Shota. Back to Izuku. Izuku was getting tired and tries to use force push on Setsuna only for her to separate her body to each other and punches Izuku with a chance. Minoma started laughing only for him to get smacked in the head by Kendo. Back to Izuku. Setsuna's fist is still at Izuku's stomach and she looks at him and smirk. Setsuna, not so fast huh? Setsuna look at him and his face looks like nothing happened until she looked back in her hand and saw Izuku is blocking her fist. Setsuna, how? Setsuna said as Izuku kicked her in the stomach sending her in the air and Izuku uses force push on Setsuna and it sent her out of the arena unconscious. Midnight. Setsuna Tokage is out of bound. Izuku Dralig is the victor. Midnight said as many people starts cheer at Izuku who is clearly walking out the arena. Minoma watches the whole scene and his jaw is still dropped from what happened. Izuku then went back to the others and they have many questions which Izuku just ignores it by listening some ocean sound. Somewhere, in a dark room filled with books and computer a woman with blue hair is watching in her screen on what is happening at the sport festival. So this is Dralig, how wonder he is strong, he is bounded with the force. Back to the sport festival. Izuku is now watching Tenko fighting Rumi and he watches how Tenko defeated Rumi by using a similar tactics that Rumi uses to fight. Rumi, damn it, how can he copy all my moves? Rumi said with anger and all heroes are now interested to Tenko. Tenko is now approaching Rumi and giving a dead look to her. Tenko, give up Rumi, I really don't want to hurt min future wife because of this. Tenko teased making Rumi blushed and with a chance Tenko carried Yumi with bridal style and Reese shocked Rumi and the audience. Tenko walked to the edge of the ring before putting her down. Midnight, and now, Tenko Skywalker is the victor. Midnight said as everyone cheered at roar. Tenko saw Rumi tearing up and Tenko feels bad for her and he then come up into an idea that might shocked everyone. Tenko then walked down to Rumi and said, Tenko, it's okay if you lose, even if you lose this will push you up to be stronger so keep it up and you will succeed your dream. Rumi, right? Thank you Skywalker. Rumi said as she kissed Tenko in the lips and which was supposed to be Tenko's idea. Tenko is now unconscious and didn't expect this to happen including the whole crowd who is shocked. Izuku and Shinso walks down to Tenko and carry him out. Tenko, she kissed me, she kissed me, she kissed me. Now it's Momo versus Tokoyami. All class are now worried since Momo has creating Quirk and Tokoyami has Dark Shadow. They were all thinking that Momo will lose, however Izuku is still no control of his Quirk. Izuku, Tenko, Shinso, I'm going to Aizawa. Tenko, okay, be careful bro. Shinso, okay sensei. Izuku then left and Izumi and her gang saw this and Shota decided to follow Izuku just in case. Izuku is now heading to where Aizawa is and going to ask him if he can train for his Quirk. Aizawa, so you have awakened your Quirk, huh? Izuku, correct. Aizawa, and you want to train it? Izuku doth it. Aizawa, okay fine, you can now go and train. Izuku then flinched the room and headed outside where he saw many media. Izuku then started training and keep doing many tactics with it by using the Jedi Force. However, he wouldn't use his Quirk on the next round because he wanted to win the fight by using the Force. Time skip 1 hour. Izuku have now managed to control 50% of his Quirk and he cannot use 60 above because if he use it Izuku will apparently lose control of himself. Time skip 2 minutes. Izuku have now arrived where Class 1A are and saw Shinso defeated Kendo. Izuku walked towards Tenko's seat and said, Izuku, while my Padawan is getting good at this. Tenko, you're lucky you have a Padawan, at least I don't have one. Izuku, but I think she will be a good one. Tenko, who? Izuku pointed towards Rumi and Tenko just shook his head. Izuku, why not? Tenko, remember if she become a master she won't be safe anymore. Izuku, I think you're right about it. Izuku was cut off when he saw Grogu on his foot. Izuku, oh shit. Everyone look at him confused and ask what happened. Izuku, nothing, I thought I saw something. Everyone then looked back at the battle and saw Shinso walking off. Izuku carried Grogu. Oh, I forgot to tell you that Momo actually won at the battle between her and Tokoyami because she already know what's Dark Shadow's secret. Izuku, what are you doing here? Grogu sound. Izuku, what do you mean something is coming? Izuku then used the Force connection and called Dralig. Izuku, Master. Dralig, yes Padawan? Izuku, Master Grogu is here and he said something is coming. Dralig, what is it? Izuku, I still don't know. After I asked that question he seems to be not responding. Dralig, then we'll look in the sky. Izuku, tell your Padawan and Tenko to focus on the festival and we will handle this. Izuku, yes Master. Since the Force connection is gone, Grogu suddenly vanish and reappear to Luke Skywalker. Back to Izuku. Midnight, all right people, here are the people who won at the festival. Izuku. Kirishima. Bakugo. Izumi. Mina. Katsumi. Midnight, and now this are the student that they will face. Izuku versus Shoto. Lita versus Mina. Momo versus Katsumi. Tenko versus Shoji. Kirishima versus Shinso. Izumi versus Katsuki. Midnight, all right, and you all guess who will the first will fight. Izuku Dralig versus Shoto Todoroki. Midnight said as the both students commenced and started to walk in the arena. Izuku and Shoto are now staring at each other and they both get into their fighting stance. Midnight, are you two ready? The both boys nodded and Midnight raised her flag and swished it down and Shoto sent a wave of ice towards Izuku. Izuku then dodges the attack and started to run towards Shoto. Shoto saw Izuku in his right and sent an ice towards Izuku, but Izuku dodges again by using force push on himself and was sent in the air. Shoto, Tisage, with his quirk he won't win against me. Izuku, I'm one with force. Izuku said as Shoto sends multiple of ice that is heading towards Izuku, but Izuku dodges it and saw an ice coming towards him. Izuku uses force push and shelters the ice, creating smoke everywhere. The hot weather now became cold and there is still smoke around. Shoto be patient and notice that his flame quirk is activating by itself. Shoto saw this and he freezed the flames before he receive a punch to Izuku. Shoto spat out a blood before falling down on the ground. Shoto clenched his fist while Izuku jumped back and looked straight towards Shoto. Midnight, Shoto Todoroki, are you giving up? Shoto shook his head and stand up. Look at Izuku like a man with soulless life. Izuku, he is getting serious. With that another punch them I could put him down, but Izuku looked in his hand and said, should I use the War Hammer quirk? Izuku said as Shoto sent a pillar of ice at him. Izuku had a late reaction and his hand was now inside the ice that Shoto sent. Izuku was stuck and couldn't move as he tried to use his lightsaber, but when he reached his saber, he saw that his saber is destroyed. Izuku, damn it, he destroy my saber, what now? Izuku said as he started to remember something, and he had an idea that he will truly regret for his life. Izuku closed his eye before opening it, and then suddenly his quirk created a mask and it summons directly at Izuku's face, shocking everyone. Izuku 2, I'm back good as new, now Shoto, shall we begin the fight? Izuku 2 said as he pulled his arm out of the ice, shattering the ice, and Izuku looked at his hand and it was all frozen. Izuku 2 opened both of his hand and then out of nowhere a two lightsaber appeared. This makes the audience wear more shock and everyone was expecting good will happen. Izuku 2 looked direct at Shoto and said, Izuku 2, be ready bud. Izuku 2 and Shoto are now starring each other before Izuku gave the first strike and run toward Shoto by Shoto sent an iceberg toward Izuku. Shoto breathed slowly and thought it's over, but Izuku appeared behind him and kicked Shoto's face, shocking all the crowd. Shoto was sent at the edge of the arena. Many people thought he loses, including Endeavor, who is expecting to use his flames. Shoto Yen stands up and he heard something that Izuku 2 said. Izuku 2, you're cold as ice, use your flames. Shoto, I want use his quirk. Izuku 2, are you willing to win this fight? Using your ice isn't going to work. Izuku 2 said as he bring back Izuku in control. Izuku, use your flame Shoto, it's not his quirk, it's yours. Izuku said, and Shoto suddenly remembered what happened to his mother when he was child. Shoto, Mom, I love you and this is for you. Shoto said as he slowly light up by his flames and making a smile that will scare your souls entirely. Izuku, what a power. Shoto. The number 2 pro hero shouted in proud and started to walk down where he can watch very closely. All heroes look at him with disgust, but they didn't talk shut about him because he's the number 2 hero. Izuku, what a stick up in the ass. Shoto gave the first strike and sent a pillar of ice towards Izuku. Izuku didn't flinch when the ice was suddenly shattered to pieces. Shoto looked at the ground and saw a medium size of spike and it vanishes. Izuku, sigh, let's get this over with. Izuku said as he opened his hand, and then an electricity is started to appear in his hand before cresting a huge hammer. All people gasped and saw it, and then Shoto make a small grin and send a wave of ice before melting it and replacing it into fire. Izuku then swing his hammer behind him and slams the ground, creating a Stro-G shock cave to stop the flames from hitting Izuku. Izuku, you need more than that to stop me. Shoto, teach. Izuku then destroyed his hammer and waited for Shoto to give the first strike. Shoto was pissed that Izuku is looking down at him, and Shoto sent a huge flames towards Izuku only for Izuku to use force push on the flames. Shoto saw the flames coming towards him and created an ice barrier. The flames hit the barrier really hard and the barrier starting to melt. Shoto's flames and barrier then vanishes and created smoke everywhere. Shoto looked around and then a bunch of rocks came towards Shoto, hitting him, and Shoto was sent out of the ring. Once the smoke was gone, all the crowd saw Shoto outside and was unconscious. Midnight, Shoto Todoroki is out of bound. Izuku Dralig is the victor. The crowd then started cheer very loud and Izuku walks are very calm and started to heal. Somewhere, the Grand Inquisitor is watching the whole fight and saw Dralig at the top of the sport festival area. The Grand Inquisitor walked back to the commander. Grand Inquisitor, Commander, is the anti-quirk generator ready? Izuku Yagi is now being beaten by Izumi and her friends.
Okay, sadly the chapter is over. And if you enjoyed the video, just leave a like and subscribe with post notification, so when the next chapter is ready, you will be notified. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye.